The Earth is a silent witness to civilizations that defied the known limits of their time. Across every continent, we find monolithic structures of such immense scale that they challenge the very definition of primitive technology. How did our ancestors move stones weighing hundreds of tons, cutting them with a laser-like precision that leaves no room for error? We are confronted by a persistent paradox, a level of engineering that rivals our modern age, yet seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Etched into remote deserts and hidden beneath dense jungles are colossal geoglyphs and mathematical blueprints that are only visible from the heavens. These are not merely ruins, but remnants of a forgotten science that once mapped the stars and mastered the Earth. History is not a straight line. It is a labyrinth of shadows where the blueprints of our past remains locked in stone, waiting for a key we have yet to find. Like a mysterious oasis amidst the stone and wind-blown deserts of ancient La Mancha, Motilla del Azuer emerges challenging and astonishing the entire archaeological world. Hidden beneath the parched earth lie the remnants of a vanished civilization, yet what truly leaves scientists frozen in awe is found at the heart of the site, the Motilla del Azuer water tower, an ancient deep water tower that has endured for millennia. This is not merely an architectural relic, but a miraculous technical cipher containing profound mysteries of intellect survival and the ambition of prehistoric humans as they confronted the harshest tests of nature. Motilla del Azuer is not a conventional military fortress. Everything here revolves around a deep well that reaches all the way down to the aquifer, wrapped inside concentric stone walls, a combination unseen anywhere else in Bronze Age Europe. This well transformed Motilla into a shelter, a hub of activity, a defensive stronghold, and even an observatory for the supreme power of its community. The technique used to build the water tower is a matter of ongoing debate. The well plunges as deep as 16 meters, its walls lined tightly with dry-laid stones, without mortar, curving along the natural geology to ensure constant access to the underground water source. In an era without modern machinery, without cement or pumps, how could our ancestors dig so deep and keep the well walls stable across millennia? Perhaps no one doubts the vital importance of water in La Mancha, but the Motilla del Azuer water tower seems to go far beyond the role of an ordinary well. This structure sits at the heart of the fortress, surrounded by a solid defensive system, with narrow corridors and spiral staircases descending deep into the earth, leading researchers to propose countless theories about its true function. First, Motilla del Azuer may have been the key source of life for the entire community, especially during the period from 2200 to 1500 BCE, when Europe underwent extreme climate changes, prolonged droughts, and dried up rivers. Therefore, building a massive water tower in the center of the fortress was seen as the only survival solution for the community to overcome crisis. Second, with its unique space and strategic location, this water tower might also have served as a center of power and control for the elite over the water supply, a critical factor determining both survival and social status, and perhaps even a symbol of divine authority, a kind of invisible hand manipulating every aspect of community life. Furthermore, the reinforcement of multiple walls, the layout of spiral passageways and small, hard-to-access gates also support the hypothesis that Motilla was a fortress designed to protect its precious resource from conflict, looting, or competition for scarce water in this semi-arid land. It is very possible that this site once witnessed some of the first confrontations in history, fought solely to claim control over the essential fresh water for the survival of the whole community. To reach the underground aquifer beneath this arid land, ancient people had to dig through multiple layers of soil and rock, facing a host of dangers, such as collapses, erosion, or water contamination. Yet the Motilla del Azuer well has existed for nearly 4,000 years without being filled by silt, and its well walls remain intact. This leads many to wonder if they possessed a deep understanding of geological structures and applied specialized techniques that science still cannot fully explain today. Each stone of the well wall was carefully selected, interlocked, and tightly packed, using gravity and clever layering techniques, making the structure both durable and able to withstand geological pressure for thousands of years without any traces of mortar or binding material. Modern experts assert that to achieve this, the builders must have been highly knowledgeable about geometry, physics, and the dynamics of rocks and earth. Inside the well, many steps lead all the way to the bottom, with specially designed pathways to avoid subsidence, and a smart water management system that keeps the well's water clean and uncontaminated by surface runoff, a feat that is far from simple when animals, dirt, and humans all gather nearby. Traces of water channels and auxiliary reservoirs found around the well show that this system served not only for drinking water, but also provided water for production livestock and long-term storage. Surrounding the well are concentric defensive walls, narrow corridors barely wide enough for one person, and spiral staircases that could easily trap or hinder intruders during emergencies, all of which help protect this precious water source from both natural disasters and human hands, a remarkably modern defensive concept considering it was devised millennia ago. Throughout hundreds of years of excavation, measurement, and analysis of every stone and layer of earth at Motilla del Azuer, archaeologists have uncovered countless strange phenomena, yet many mysteries remain unsolved. One of the greatest questions is how ancient people could determine the exact location to dig a well, striking the deep underground aquifer right in the middle of a semi-arid land. Despite there being no evidence of any water detection devices, some suggest they relied on folk experience, oral knowledge, or observing natural signs, but all these hypotheses remain unconvincing in terms of such near-perfect accuracy. Additionally, the methods of underground construction, in conditions of limited light and potentially hazardous air-containing gases like methane and carbon dioxide, as well as the ever-present risk of collapse, remain a major enigma. Only traces of stone and bone tools have been found, showing that the construction process must have required enormous physical effort and always involved extreme danger. Furthermore, the question of why ancient people guarded their water source like a treasure continues to puzzle scientists. Was it due to famines, prolonged periods of harsh drought, or even bloody conflicts fought solely to gain control of the only well? In fact, traces of fire and breaks on human bones found at the site serve as evidence for chaotic periods in which only those who controlled water could survive. Lastly, the ceremonial or spiritual role of this structure remains controversial, as many theories propose that the well was also a place for rain-making rituals or offerings to deities. Some artifacts, animal bones, and ancient pottery found at the bottom of the well and in niches around the walls might be ritual offerings, but no one can say for sure whether these were truly sacred objects or simply discarded items lost over time. Compared to other sites from the same era in Europe, Motilla del Azuer stands alone, not just for its scale, but for integrating defense, habitation, water storage, production, and ritual into a single architectural unit. Many scholars say the Motilla system is a technical wonder of Bronze Age Spain, yet also a huge question mark about the intellect and social organization of prehistory. Who led these projects? Who decided to build them? And why choose to erect such a massive water tower rather than migrate elsewhere? The Motilla del Azuer water tower is not merely an archaeological relic. It also serves as a modern warning about climate change, about the life or death importance of water, and about human creativity in adversity. In today's world, as many regions face drought and water scarcity, the lesson of Motilla is clear. Knowledge, ingenuity, and communal unity are the keys to adaptation and survival. To this day, the Motilla del Azuer water tower remains a great mystery, from the techniques used to construct its deep, durable well during the Bronze Age to the true function of the structure, whether it was simply a source of water, a center of power, a spiritual symbol, or the treasure of a lost civilization. Many of its technical secrets have also disappeared without a trace, making Motilla del Azuer both a testament to ancient ingenuity and a challenge to future generations regarding the depth of every archaeological mystery. On the quiet fields of southern Sweden, near the village of Kivik, stands one of the most spectacular structures of Bronze Age Europe, Kivik King's Grave, Kiviksgraven. Hidden beneath layers of earth is a megalithic chamber tomb nearly 75 meters in diameter with a central stone room surrounded by massive slabs. But what truly turns Kivik into legend is its system of ancient stone carvings, a mysterious museum of art that surpasses the level of most civilizations of its time. Stepping into the tomb, visitors and researchers feel transported into a surreal world filled with dozens of strange engravings on the great stone slabs. The subjects are diverse, from boats, warriors, and solar wheels to abstract geometric symbols. These works are not only evidence of a spiritual life, but also pose a great question. How could ancient people create such complex, sharp, and consistent carvings on hard stone more than 3,000 years ago? What secret techniques do you think the ancients used to create these carvings? Is there any theory about how ancient people achieved this impossible feat that fascinates you? In your opinion, what hidden mysteries of ancient stoneworking technology have yet to be unraveled by modern science? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Kivik King's Grave was constructed using large, flat slabs, mainly made of sandstone and granite materials that are extremely hard and very difficult to work with using only primitive tools. Remarkably, the surfaces of these stone slabs are clean and smooth, showing hardly any cracks or chips, which proves that the ancient builders had sophisticated skills in selecting and preparing the stone. It is possible that they had to cut and split each massive slab right at the quarry, then transport them for several kilometers to the tomb site. A logistical and technical challenge that would have been far from simple with only stone or bronze tools available. When placing the stones in the burial chamber, they also carefully adjusted the flatness and the alignment of the slabs, minimizing gaps as much as possible to ensure that the space would remain durable for millennia. To create the deep, even carvings on these stone slabs, the ancients did not rely only on sharp stones. Many traces suggest they also used tools made of bronze or early alloys, possibly finely forged chisels or engraving points. Especially notable are some fine, narrow, and uniform incisions that look almost as if they were made by machine, showing that the tools had to be extremely hard and sharp, and the person using them had exceptional skill. Microscopic studies even reveal remarkable control over hand pressure. The depth of the grooves does not suddenly change. The edges are crisp, and the stone around the carvings is not shattered. This is exactly what makes Kivik King's grave so advanced for its time. The layout of the carvings is always logical, with balanced spacing, and the groups of images are connected in a highly organized way, never chaotic or overlapping. This suggests the craftspeople had clear drawings or plans before starting the work. The lines of the motifs are always sharp and even never crude, from sunwheels, concentric circles, and rays to tiny human figures, all are shaded to create a three-dimensional effect, something most other famous stone tombs in Europe of that era could not achieve. Their anti-cracking technique for deep carving is also remarkable. Large slabs were engraved deeply yet did not break, showing a deep understanding of the stone's structure, knowing when to stop and how to distribute force evenly, something still very difficult to do today, even with modern technology, unless using precision machinery. In many places, the ancients also skillfully took advantage of the different colored layers of stone they carved deeply to reveal a lighter layer beneath, making the motifs stand out more clearly in dim light. In other spots, they knew how to use sunlight, passing through the stone crevices to create shadow effects, making the carvings appear to move or change at different times of day, a level of spatial thinking and perspective rarely seen in that era. There is even evidence that the ancients once painted some carvings with organic materials, though the colors have now faded, and this technique of painting on hard stone remains a mystery that has yet to be solved. The unique carvings at Kivik King's grave are truly impressive in their diversity and complexity, surpassing the expectations of their era. Most striking are the grand symbols such as the sunwheels boats and rows of warriors. The sunwheels here display concentric circles with evenly radiating rays, each ray further engraved with small lines to create the effect of shining light. That ancient people, using only primitive tools, could make circles so perfectly round and balanced is truly a marvel of both technique and patience. In addition, the boat carvings feature dozens of tiny crew members, each holding a shield or spear in identical postures, as if they were made from a single mold, demonstrating extraordinary mastery in fine detailing. The warriors stand in lines, each with different clothing weapons and stances, showing that the carvers were not only able to replicate forms, but also mastered the art of miniaturization, maintaining sharpness and liveliness for every figure. Beyond that, the abstract geometric motifs and strange symbols are also special highlights on these stone slabs. Some motifs like spirals, polygons, zigzag lines, or symbols resembling undeciphered characters are all carved with remarkably even proportions and balanced ratios, astonishing many researchers. This leads experts to believe that their creators might have used measuring devices, straight lines, or some kind of precision drawing tools, a novel hypothesis when viewed in the context of the Bronze Age. Moreover, the interaction with space technique makes the Kivik carving system truly unique. The slabs are arranged according to a particular pattern, allowing the motifs on them to align and connect when viewed from certain angles. There are slabs with only half a sunwheel, the other half on the adjacent slab, meaning the viewer must stand at exactly the right central spot to see the whole symbol. This demonstrates an extremely modern sense of spatial, artistic, and technical thinking for the time. Some carvings were even placed on slabs facing the sunrise, suggesting the application of astronomical knowledge in the construction and arrangement of the ancient tomb thousands of years ago. Kivik King's grave impresses not only with its carving techniques, but also with the technological and artistic legacy it has left behind. Compared to most other stone tombs of the same era in Scandinavia, which typically display only simple motifs like circles or straight lines, the carvings at Kivik truly reach a rare level of detail and diversity. Many archaeologists believe that Kivik stands as evidence of the highest level of craftsmanship and artistry in the Baltic region at the end of the Bronze Age. It may even have once been a major center of trade and technology, gathering the most skilled stone carvers of the area. However, an even greater mystery remains to this day. No one has been able to replicate the deeply engraved, sharp, and smooth carvings on large stone slabs like those at Kivik, using only primitive bronze tools. Some theories suggest that the ancients may have known how to use special alloys or abrasive substances, such as quartz sand mixed with oil resin, or even thermal shock techniques, but experimental evidence for these ideas is still very limited. The perfection and precision found in every carved line and in the placement of stone slabs at Kivik has led many proponents of ancient aliens theories to believe that this place once received assistance from technology beyond Earth. Although scientists always reject such theories, they must also admit that the stoneworking techniques at Kivik remain a mystery that challenges even modern humanity when limited to only ancient primitive tools. When excavating Kivik King's grave, archaeologists had to use extremely delicate tools and proceed with great caution to avoid damaging any of the carved lines, demonstrating that the stoneworking technology at Kivik is not only a magnificent achievement of the ancients, but also a valuable lesson for today's heritage restoration experts. During the process of three-dimensional reconstruction of the stone slabs, researchers observed that each carving possesses its own distinct depth, with raised lines, creating vivid visual effects, especially as the angle of lighting changes. This further reinforces the hypothesis that the ancient craftsmen had a profound understanding of how light interacts with materials, and they deliberately exploited this to enhance the artistic value and symbolic meaning of each stone carving. What remains on the stone slabs of Kivik King's grave is not only ancient art, but also proof of an extraordinary level of technical and artistic skill from the Bronze Age. Every motif and line reflects the exceptional craftsmanship and creativity of its ancient makers. To this day, the biggest question how they created such masterpieces using only primitive tools remains unanswered, making Kivik King's grave one of humanity's most captivating mysteries. Amidst the arid and windswept lands of Murcia, at the far southeastern tip of Spain, there lies a place where every inch of soil is steeped in secrets. Hidden deep beneath the dust of ages is La Almoloya, not just an ordinary archaeological site, but a gateway that takes us back to one of the most flourishing civilizations of the Bronze Age. La Almoloya stands as vivid proof that ancient Europe was far from the darkness that many still imagine. On the contrary, this place gave rise to metallurgical arts, metalworking techniques, and complex social organization, rivaling the greatest civilizations of humankind nearly 4,000 years ago. Only as each treasure, each finely crafted silver artifact gradually comes to light, do scientists have to admit La Almoloya and El Argar possess a trove of relics and a level of technology far beyond all previous expectations, offering an entirely new perspective on the prehistory of Europe. When archaeologists first entered the La Almoloya site, the first thing that astonished them was a vast, great hall with a rectangular layout, thick walls, benches running along both sides, and a hearth in the center of the floor. This structure not only demonstrated the complexity of their construction techniques, but also clearly indicated a gathering center where important decisions related to politics, religion, and the economy were made, something extremely rare in Bronze Age Europe. Right beneath the floor of this great hall, archaeologists also discovered a unique collective tomb where a man and a woman were buried together with an enormous number of precious artifacts, the most remarkable of which were silver creations, symbolizing ultimate power and status. Tomb number 38 has become one of the most sensational archaeological discoveries in Europe over the past decade. In addition to the skeletons, the tomb contained more than 30 pieces of jewelry and objects mostly made of pure silver, including a diadem crown, necklaces, earrings, buttons, pins, and even bowls and cups used in rituals. Notably, the exquisitely crafted silver diadem was the ultimate symbol of power for El Argar women, representing not only social status, but also the achievements of metallurgical skill, artistic creativity, and the ability to control rare resources of this civilization. Before the El Argar period, it was extremely rare for any European culture to achieve the level of non-ferrous metallurgy that they did. Modern scientific analyses have shown that the silver artifacts from La Almoloya are not simply decorative objects. They are, in fact, the result of a highly complex process of smelting, refining, and crafting that required precise temperature control and skillful coordination between various stages: melting, shaping, polishing, and engraving using specialized tools. Just the silver diadem alone, over 20 centimeters long and less than 1 millimeter thick, with its outer surface exquisitely decorated with engraved patterns, is enough to prove that the artisans of that era were in no way inferior to those of major contemporary civilizations in the Middle East. Under the microscope, the motifs and details are so fine that they require modern magnification to be observed clearly, reflecting both the extraordinary craftsmanship and patience involved. But it didn't stop at silver. Archaeologists have also discovered a whole range of red copper objects, bronze alloys, semi-precious stones, glass, and even thin gold items, as well as numerous spearheads, blades, needles, ornaments, and ritual items, all bearing the marks of a wide array of metalworking techniques, from cold hammering, casting, and plating to highly refined cutting and polishing. Remarkably, El Argar developed a specialized system for producing metal goods with a clear division of labor between artisans, metallurgists, stoneworkers, and even interregional trading activities to acquire valuable raw materials. Isotopic research has revealed that some samples of silver and copper from La Almoloya originated in mines located hundreds of kilometers away, showing just how highly developed El Argar's trading network was. Many items, especially finely crafted silverware and alloys, were produced using advanced techniques such as repeated heating, coolings, and multi-layer forming, which were more complex than those of many neighboring civilizations of the same era. Some artifacts even bear traces of silver plating over alloys or inlaying semi-precious stones on metal bases, a combination of techniques from various cultures, proving that El Argar was not only creative, but also highly adept at absorbing learning and improving upon foreign technologies. To this day, no one has been able to fully replicate the techniques used to craft the ultra-thin, intricate silver jewelry found at La Almoloya, without the aid of modern equipment. This raises a series of major questions about the technology once possessed by the El Argar people. What types of molds did they use? What special materials or compounds did they choose to shape metal as thin as paper without it cracking? Furthermore, the source of the silver that El Argar used remains an intriguing mystery for archaeologists. Today, Spain's silver mines are abundant, but how these prehistoric people accessed, extracted, and refined silver is still an unsolved question. Some evidence suggests that they made use of both native silver and silver extracted from ore through an extremely advanced metallurgical process requiring precise temperature control in their furnaces to separate silver from lead or copper, far surpassing the technical level of contemporary European societies. Even more astonishing is that many artifacts at La Almoloya have retained their shapes and patterns almost perfectly after 4,000 years buried underground. This result proves that in addition to their outstanding metallurgical skills, the El Argar people also possessed extensive knowledge of material preservation processing and sophisticated burial techniques. They may have used anti-oxidizing materials when placing artifacts in tombs, which allowed their metal masterpieces to survive almost intact to this day. What has been found at La Almoloya overturns the old notion that ancient Europe lagged behind Egypt, Mesopotamia, or Greece in technology and society. The treasures, diadems, silverware, bronze objects, and the system of workshops and trade found here are powerful evidence that El Argar were not just primitive farmers, but creators of complex society, class stratification, international exchange, and technological mastery far ahead of their era. Especially noteworthy is the pivotal role of women in El Argar society, shown by the fact that the most powerful artifacts and greatest treasures belonged to a female figure. This opens up new avenues for research into gender equality and social structure in prehistoric Europe. Today, the silver artifacts, diadems, and stone and bronze relics of La Almoloya are considered national treasures of Spain and the pride of European archaeology. Each artifact is a message transcending time about human creativity, the spirit of technological conquest, and the aspiration to rise beyond our ancestors' limits. If there is any place in Europe that contains the most layers of mystery about ancient beliefs, science, and human creativity, then Bryn Celli Ddu, the mound of the Dark Cell on the island of Anglesey, Wales, surely ranks among the top candidates. Its modest appearance, covered in lush green grass atop a low hill, hides beneath it a labyrinth of ancient stones, holding a question that has never truly been answered. What is the real function of Bryn Celli Ddu? Thousands of years ago, the first communities on Anglesey chose this spot to build a timeless structure, a long stone passage leading into a dark, circular chamber with a low dome and walls stacked with huge stones. At first glance, many might think this is a typical ancient tomb, like countless others scattered throughout Western Europe. But the deeper researchers delve, the more they find that Bryn Celli Ddu is unlike any other place, from its architecture orientation to the artifacts and secrets buried deep within the earth. The very first special thing archaeologists discovered that the current structure was not the first. Before becoming a passage tomb, this site was once a stone circle, perhaps a smaller version of Stonehenge. This alone sowed the first seeds of doubt among researchers about the multifunctional nature and changing roles of Bryn Celli Ddu across different eras. Modern people often assume that a stone tomb is simply the final resting place of an important individual. However, all archaeological evidence at Bryn Celli Ddu casts this hypothesis into doubt. The number of human remains found is extremely limited, mainly just scattered bones, not enough to consider this a collective burial site or the grave of a great leader. Furthermore, many of the artifacts discovered here are offerings, ritual tools, traces of fire, and broken pottery items usually associated with communal activities rather than just simple burial rites. One of the most striking discoveries is the absolute alignment between Bryn Celli Ddu and a spectacular astronomical event. On the early morning of the summer solstice, sunlight shines straight down the stone corridor and directly onto the central standing stone. This level of precision has led many to believe that this was a kind of prehistoric timekeeping device, an observatory serving rituals related to the solar cycle, agriculture, or sacred moments of local belief. Beyond that, the structure of the passage connecting to the circular chamber and the upright stone in the center evokes images of an energy conductor or spirit chamber, features that appear in ancient Celtic legends. The big question arises, was Bryn Celli Ddu a place that connected humans with the gods, ancestors, or even the universe, or did it truly serve as a gateway to the afterlife? Inside the tomb, many mysterious symbols are carved onto large stones, spirals, concentric circles, continuous dots, and maze-like motifs, all repeated with remarkable precision. Some scholars believe these carvings represent the movement of the sun and stars, or serve as mind maps of the cycle of rebirth or the circle of life in ancient beliefs. Especially notable is the standing stone in the center of the chamber, which has a hollow resembling an altar for sacred objects, further reinforcing the theory that this was a venue for major mysterious communal ceremonies. Artifacts found here, such as animal bones, charcoal fragments, broken pottery, cereal grains, and stone tools, are all traces of sacrificial rituals, harvest commemorations, or significant moments in the community's life. Notably, sediment layers show that Bryn Celli Ddu was used and repurposed many times, serving as a gathering place, then a burial site, and then returning to be a ritual center, demonstrating just how deeply this structure was connected to the spiritual life of the ancient community for many generations. Many archaeologists agree that Bryn Celli Ddu was a focal point for the ritual and spiritual ceremonies of the ancient community. People there did not simply perform individual burials, but also conducted ceremonies marking the annual cycles, especially during the summer solstice. The convergence of sunlight on this exact day could symbolize a moment of transition when the boundary between the physical world and the spiritual world becomes especially thin, making it easier to communicate with ancestors or deities. Furthermore, Bryn Celli Ddu stands out for its ability to capture astronomical light, much like other famous stone tombs in Europe, such as Newgrange in Ireland or Maeshowe in Scotland, which are also aligned to solstice sunlight. However, what sets Bryn Celli Ddu apart is its exceptional architectural precision, a perfectly straight passage, and the ideal angle so that sunlight enters fully on just one specific day each year. This has led scientists to believe that the ancient builders here possessed a profound understanding of astronomical principles with their own calendar system, and that Bryn Celli Ddu may have once served as a central calendar marker for the whole community. Alongside this, Welsh folklore recounts a strange energy radiating from this place, with many people feeling a chill standing at the center of the tomb, especially on the solstice. Some modern theories propose that the unique stone structure, narrow space, and humidity inside the tomb might create an acoustic resonance, turning this chamber into a true spirit-conducting or trance space. Although there is still no scientific proof, the idea of this power room continues to captivate the imaginations of both researchers and visitors. In addition, there are theories that Bryn Celli Ddu was once a place for passing down knowledge where younger generations received teachings about calendars, astronomy, religion, and even ancestral construction techniques. The stone carvings within the tomb may in fact be primitive textbooks, decoded and transmitted through the stories of priests or tribal elders, helping preserve the vital spiritual values of this ancient community. Despite decades of excavation and restoration, Bryn Celli Ddu continues to baffle archaeologists with countless unresolved questions. Why were the original stone circles demolished and replaced by a passage tomb Was it due to social upheaval, changes in religious beliefs, or perhaps even pressures from nature that forced the ancient community to repurpose this monument? Who in fact was actually buried here, when the traces of human bones are so few and scattered, making it impossible to confirm that Bryn Celli Ddu was ever the resting place of an important individual or a large community? The strange symbols carved onto the stones, from spirals and concentric circles to mysterious hollows. Could they be ancient codes representing the solar cycle, the journey of the soul, or are they simply prehistoric works of art? Even more remarkable is the question of why there is only a single standing stone in the center of the burial chamber, when most other tombs lack such a feature, giving rise to a series of theories about a cosmic marker, a point of spiritual convergence, or a sacred object for which there is still no definitive answer. Ultimately, could it be that Bryn Celli Ddu was once a forbidden land, a truly sacred site, as the evidence of reuse and the many layers of overlapping history all suggest that this place has been revered, altered, and preserved by generation after generation over millennia? Perhaps what makes Bryn Celli Ddu most special is the blending of functions. It is at once a burial site, an astronomical observatory, a ritual center, a knowledge storehouse, and a source of spiritual inspiration. Its very ambiguity, its shape-shifting, makes it a symbol of adaptability, creativity, and the enduring mystery of prehistoric people. Many archaeologists agree, if you see Bryn Celli Ddu merely as a tomb, it is superficial. If you imagine it only as a modern observatory, it's romanticized. The truth may lie in between. It is a complex, multifunctional structure, both practical and mystical, reflecting the beliefs, knowledge, and artistic life of people separated from us by millennia of cultural evolution. Today, though, Bryn Celli Ddu is only a grassy mound and some silent stones. Each time the solstice sun pierces the passage and lights the standing stone, the mystery is rekindled. It is a reminder of the wonder of prehistoric intelligence, the desire to connect earth and sky and spirit, a testament to the power of mysteries that modern science still cannot measure or contain. Some ancient cities live on only in legend, but there are ruins so real and astonishing that even the modern world must pause in wonder. Cantona is a prime example. Amid the desolate highlands of Puebla, tens of thousands of volcanic stones are stacked to form narrow, winding streets, like a labyrinth raising fortress walls that have withstood the ages. Not pyramids, not grand temples, Cantona captivates our imagination with its extraordinary engineering spirit. How could an ancient civilization transform volcanic rock into immortal streets, enduring through thousands of years, natural disasters, earthquakes, and the oblivion of history itself? What mysteries still slumber in the narrow, fortified alleys of this lost city? What do you think is the greatest mystery of Cantona's ancient streets? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Cantona is unlike any other ancient city in the Americas. Amid hundreds of archaeological sites across central Mexico, Cantona stands out as a gigantic stronghold where every street could be a deadly trap for intruders, and every path leads to mysteries no one has fully explored. More than 5,000 narrow streets winding like tangled threads through the stone earth. These streets not only connect homes, plazas, and temples, but also act as natural defensive corridors. Cantona's streets are not straightforward or easy to traverse. They're filled with sudden curves, hidden corners, and sharp turns, cleverly designed to divide and disrupt any invading force or stranger trying to penetrate the heart of the city. Thousands of years ago, without satellite maps, no invading warrior could easily orient themselves in Cantona's stone maze. The local people, on the other hand, knew every alley by heart, recognizing dead ends and secret exits for escape or ambush. What truly amazes modern archaeologists about Cantona is the city's advanced construction techniques, remarkably ahead of their time. The entire city, from its stone-paved streets, fortified walls, and stairways to even the house foundations, was built entirely from volcanic rock, with absolutely no binding material whatsoever. Each stone was meticulously shaped to fit perfectly, locking tightly with others, like pieces of a giant puzzle, with large and small blocks interwoven and wedged together to form a remarkably stable structure. What's even more impressive is that Cantona's stone joining methods were extremely diverse and adapted to both the terrain and the function of each area. In places that required more strength, such as stairs, defensive walls, or gates, massive stones were stacked in a robust dry stone fashion. In contrast, small streets and narrow alleys were paved with thin, neatly cut stones, arranged in an interlocking pattern to prevent slipping. What's more, Cantona sits atop the Puebla region, an area famously prone to frequent and powerful earthquakes. Yet astonishingly, after thousands of years and countless violent tremors, Cantona's main streets and core structures remain almost completely intact, a feat that many ancient cities built with mortar in the same era could never achieve. The secret lies in the flexible nature of these mortarless stones. Their construction allowed the buildings to move slightly when earthquakes struck, rather than cracking or collapsing. The stones were laid in wave-like patterns, hugging the contours of the natural terrain. When the ground shook, each stone could shift and tremble, but the overall structure remained secure. Looking at Cantona's street system, it's clear that these were far more than mere passageways. They were, in fact, a brilliantly designed, multi-layered defense network. Narrow streets could easily be locked off by just a few large stones, cutting off access for enemies trying to reach the city's heart. Each sector had its own control gate, making it nearly impossible for outsiders to bypass the city's many protective layers without a local guide. Notably, many streets were elevated, forming outdoor terraces that gave defenders sweeping views and the tactical advantage to rain stones or shoot arrows at attackers below. More than 3,000 broad patios were connected to the streets by stone stairways, creating an extremely flexible movement network linking houses, storage areas, and community gathering points. One of Cantona's greatest mysteries is its modular style of construction. Walls, staircases, and patios could be partially dismantled, expanded, or rebuilt without damaging or weakening the whole structure. Some scholars theorize that Cantona's inhabitants could proactively adjust their defensive lines or alter the size of residential zones, expanding when the city prospered and shrinking when threats emerged. The sheer scale of Cantona's construction project truly defies imagination. Few ancient cities in the world can claim that almost their entire area, up to 20 square kilometers, was built from processed, fitted, and stacked natural stone. More than 24 ancient ball courts, a record for pre-Columbian times, hundreds of plazas, temples, storage buildings, homes, and an entire network of underground water channels, ditches, and reservoirs were all hidden within these layers of stone. Cantona did not possess the magnificent pyramids found in Aztec or Maya cities. Instead, it hid itself deep within stone, becoming a powerful commercial center that controlled the entire obsidian trade route, the black gold of the ancient world, prized for making razor-sharp weapons. Thanks to its extremely strategic location, Whoever controlled Cantona also held the key to the lifeblood trade route connecting the Mexican highlands with the Gulf Coast. Its system of fortress walls and cleverly designed defensive streets transformed Cantona into an impregnable citadel enduring for centuries and defying any ambitions of conquest from outsiders. Yet the fate of Cantona is shrouded in mystery. Around the year 1050, the entire population suddenly abandoned the city, leaving behind no trace of war epidemic or large-scale natural disaster. Since then, Cantona gradually faded into obscurity, becoming a silent stone city buried under layers of volcanic ash, quietly revealing its hidden secrets only as archaeologists gradually excavate its ruins. More than just a defensive bastion or commercial hub, Cantona also bears the mark of a complex cultural and spiritual center. The city boasted as many as 24 ancient ball courts, which once hosted solemn sacrificial ceremonies and large-scale athletic festivals, evidence of a vibrant spiritual and community life. All across the city, plazas, temples, stone statues, and altars were arranged on higher terraces, reserved for the elite and priestly class, adding yet another layer of mystery to a city that once stood at the pinnacle of power before vanishing without a trace. After decades of excavation and research, scientists remain completely in the dark about the true identity of those who built the magnificent city of Cantona. No one knows which ethnic group they belonged to, what language they spoke, or whether they had a unique writing system, because to this day, not a single symbol or piece of script has been found among the stone ruins. All that remains are fiercely debated hypotheses. Some believe Cantona was the achievement of a lost civilization existing independently and in isolation from major neighboring cultures such as Teotihuacan, Olmec, or Toltec. Others have theorized, could it be that Cantona's remarkably advanced construction techniques, never passed down, led to its disappearance when faced with conflict or severe climate change? And perhaps the greatest puzzle for modern scientists is how ancient people could have transported and assembled millions of tons of stone, building thousands of streets and mighty walls with nothing but primitive tools in hand. The more we search for answers, the more Cantona stands as one of history's most enduring mysteries. Today, as we walk along Cantona's stone streets, we cannot help but marvel at the remarkable engineering legacy left by ancient people. Without blueprints or modern machinery, they still built a city that has endured through time and the forces of nature. Cantona is not just an ancient ruin, but an unsolved code of prehistoric human determination, creativity, and the desire to conquer the world. Amidst the arid semi-desert landscape of Zacatecas, Mexico, stands a strange monument that leaves every visitor in awe, the Hall of Columns at La Quemada. There are no grand palaces or magnificent statues here, only rows of massive stone columns quietly standing in a still haunting space, challenging the understanding of even modern science. Who erected these multi-ton stone blocks? How did they transport, assemble, and precisely align them without any mortar or binding agent at a time when all mechanical means and modern technology were still non-existent? The deeper researchers investigate, the more details they uncover that reveal a level of engineering organization and thinking far beyond its era. Yet these discoveries only thicken the veil of unsolved mystery. What do you think is the greatest mystery behind the Hall of Columns at La Quemada? If you had to explain how the ancients built this monument, what would you say? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Hall of Columns consists of a total of 40 to 44 large stone columns arranged in 2 parallel rows on the floor of a rectangular hall with a length of about 35 meters and a width of nearly 25 meters. These columns have an average height of 3 to 4 meters, a diameter of up to 70 centimeters, and each column can weigh from several tons to more than 10 tons. What is remarkable is that all of these columns were constructed without mortar or any kind of modern binding material. Instead, the stones were simply stacked using their natural weight, relying on friction balance and the extremely precise stone-fitting skills of ancient builders. The dry stone masonry technique was applied with great accuracy, ensuring that the columns would not shift even after centuries of earthquakes, sandstorms, and desert rains. The columns were placed on carefully carved, flat stone foundations, creating an extra-large contact surface to minimize movement. All the selected stones have special surface textures. Some were polished smooth, while others were kept naturally rough to increase friction, demonstrating a material selection mindset that was truly experimental engineering beyond its era. A major mystery lies in the source of the building stones. The area around La Quemada does not have many large, high-quality stone quarries, especially the kind of stone that could be crafted into such massive columns. Archaeologists have pointed out that most of the stones might have been taken from hills located at least 2 to 3 kilometers away from the site. However, the transportation of hundreds of tons of stone across rugged arid terrain using pre-metal technology with no wheels and no large draft animals remains an unanswered question. Some theories suggest that ancient people may have used wooden rollers sled systems or especially strong braided ropes, but so far there is no material evidence that truly confirms any of these hypotheses. A careful analysis of the cut marks and polishing traces on the stone surfaces shows that even if ancient people used metal tools, these were likely only primitive copper or bronze implements. However, the precision of the straight, even, and several centimeter-deep cuts suggests that they may have possessed more advanced techniques or perhaps held a now-lost crafting secret. Each column was lightly grooved at its base to fit tightly with the underlying stone foundation, ensuring the column's stability through a special lock-fit design. Additionally, some columns have small holes at their tops, which researchers believe were used to attach wooden beams or temporary braces during the erection process. This detail demonstrates a truly organized approach to labor calculation and construction techniques that far surpassed what is typically seen in contemporary cultures. Unlike other stone structures of the same era, in the Mesoamerican region, such as Teotihuacan or Monte Alban, the stone columns at the Hall of Columns were erected individually without being connected as a block to any wall or roof. This required the ancients to have a very high level of mechanical understanding, because even a small error in calculating the center of gravity balance or weight could cause the entire structure to collapse as soon as it was completed. The big question is how they could raise a stone column weighing several tons and still maintain perfect stability, especially given that there are no clear traces of supporting tools like levers, pulleys, or scaffolding systems. One of the factors that makes the Hall of Columns such a unique case in the history of ancient architecture is that no mortar was used at all to bind the stone blocks. This is entirely different from the traditional construction methods of major civilizations like the Maya Aztec or Inca, places where lime mortar plant resin or clay mixed with sand was typically used to hold stones together. The columns at the Hall of Columns rely solely on natural gravity and the friction between contact surfaces to maintain structural stability. Thanks to this technique, the structure can breathe and flex slightly in response to harsh changes in the weather, with large temperature differences between day and night in the semi-desert and is also more resistant to earthquakes and seismic waves. While this dry stone masonry technique can also be found in Greece, Egypt, or Peru. The Hall of Columns retains unique characteristics not seen in any other monument in the world. There is no evidence of the use of large draft animals' wheels or any kind of specialized sleds during the construction of the Hall of Columns. This leads researchers to believe that ancient people may have mobilized hundreds of workers divided into many continuous shifts and used simple tools such as levers, rollers, wooden scaffolding, or extremely sturdy braided ropes. It is very likely that at that time, a prehistoric construction site existed with extremely tight organization, where different groups were assigned to specific tasks from quarrying stone, preparing materials, and transporting to the final assembly at the site. This large-scale coordination, carried out in a harsh environment, not only demonstrates discipline and solidarity, but also proves that the construction culture here possessed a level of organization and technology far ahead of its time. Field surveys at the Hall of Columns have revealed many clear traces of blackened burns at the bases of the columns on the stone floor, as well as the appearance of unusual cracks, all of which suggest the occurrence of a major catastrophe, here possibly the result of war, civil unrest, or even a mass destruction ritual. The fire may have weakened the cohesion between the stone blocks or caused large cracks to form. Yet it is truly astonishing that most of the columns have remained standing for thousands of years after that disaster. This further proves that the construction technology and material selection of the ancients at La Quemada had reached an exceptional level strong enough to withstand every challenge from both nature and humans. As of now, the greatest mystery of the Hall of Columns lies in the question: who created this remarkable construction technology? There are absolutely no ancient records, nor have any drawings been found that detail the building techniques, and not a single trace of specialized artifacts or tools remains. Some theories suggest that this structure was the work of the Toltec culture, while other opinions lean toward the possibility that it was the result of a cultural crossroads between northern Mexico and the great civilizations of southern Mesoamerica. There are also ideas that the Hall of Columns represents the final pinnacle of a mysterious anonymous society, a community that existed only briefly before vanishing completely, taking with it all the secrets of its extraordinary construction techniques. When the Hall of Columns is compared to other famous stone column structures of the same era around the world, like Stonehenge in England or the stone columns of Egypt and Peru, what surprises researchers most is that the Hall of Columns does not conform to any known architectural school or tradition. The choice of materials, column erecting techniques, site layout, and the arrangement of columns here are both simple and strikingly peculiar, not repeated at any other monument on Earth. Even seemingly small details, such as the holes for wooden beams, the foundation locking grooves, or the method of precision fitting each stone block, all demonstrate an exceptional level of engineering and organization that to this day, modern science has yet to fully explain. Today, the Hall of Columns inspires many modern dry stone masonry restoration techniques and helps the construction industry discover sustainable solutions that do not require concrete, steel, or chemicals. Its greatest value is in raising profound questions about the creativity, intelligence, and organizational abilities of ancient people far beyond our usual image of a civilization known only for stone and copper tools. La Quemada Hall of Columns is not only a mysterious structure regarding its purpose, but also a challenging puzzle about ancient construction technology, a place converging organization, craftsmanship, material knowledge, and labor capability that even modern science is still trying to decipher. Preserving this monument not only retains a part of human history, but also serves as a living laboratory for research, restoration, and sustainable future applications. Amidst the bustling metropolis of Mexico, beneath layers of cold, black volcanic lava, the Cuicuilco circular pyramid quietly endures as one of history's greatest unanswered questions. It doesn't dazzle or flaunt itself like other famous pyramids, but its unique circular form and its fate buried and forgotten have made Cuicuilco one of the most controversial sites in modern archaeology. Through countless centuries, Cuicuilco has kept many secrets tightly sealed. How did ancient people manage to transport and construct such a massive pyramid using only heavy, hard volcanic stone? Why did they choose a perfectly concentric circular design so different from every architectural norm of their age? And most importantly, what was this pyramid truly used for? To this day, such questions continue to puzzle researchers around the globe, fueling an endless quest for truth that has yet to find its conclusion. What do you think was the true purpose of the Cuicuilco pyramid? Do you believe more secrets are still hidden beneath the lava? Share your thoughts in the comments below. When it comes to pyramids in Central America, most people immediately think of square shapes, steep stairs, and flat tops like at Teotihuacan Tula or the wonders of the Maya. However, Cuicuilco completely breaks these standards with its concentric circular shape, reaching up to 120 meters in diameter and nearly 23 meters in height. The pyramid's tiers are not just stacked, but form circular rings reminiscent of wood grain or ancient solar symbols. Why a circular shape? This remains a major mystery no one has fully explained. Some researchers believe the circle symbolizes cycles of time, the cosmos, or special astronomical phenomena. Others see it as the result of unique cultural blending, showing an architectural mindset that surpassed all traditional boundaries of that era. There are even views suggesting this is a remnant of a civilization older than both the Aztec and Maya, with a completely different cosmological philosophy. What truly sets Cuicuilco apart from hundreds of other pyramids in Central America is its incredibly complex, sophisticated, and advanced construction technology. The entire structure was built completely from basalt, a volcanic rock that is extremely heavy, hard, and very difficult to quarry or transport. Notably, basalt was not abundant in the local area. Most of it had to be sourced from afar, then transported by human power through treacherous terrain, dense forests, and muddy swamps. These basalt blocks were meticulously shaped into flat or rounded slabs, then fitted together with astonishing precision without the use of any binding mortar. In fact, many blocks were even locked into place using elaborate groove and tongue technique that it would take modern engineers thousands of years later to replicate. The pyramid was not only constructed atop natural ground, but also features a very thick artificial foundation compacted from a mixture of sand, small stones, and organic materials, which help the structure withstand earthquakes as well as the immense weight of the pyramid itself. Each ring of the pyramid was formed by stacking hundreds of large stone blocks, creating a system of concentric circular steps that not only held aesthetic and ritual value, but also distributed the weight evenly, allowing the structure to stand firm for thousands of years. Moreover, some ground-penetrating radar surveys have even discovered channels and underground drainage systems beneath the pyramid, proving that the ancient builders paid great attention to long-term durability and erosion prevention, something that even many modern structures today could learn from. All of these factors raise a crucial question. How could an ancient community estimated at only about 20,000 to 30,000 people possibly organize the extraction, transport, shaping, and construction of such a massive, complex structure without leaving behind substantial evidence of tools, blueprints, or the traces of a large-scale social system like those of later developed empires? One of the most remarkable aspects of Cuicuilco is that the entire archaeological site was buried beneath a layer of lava up to 7 meters thick after the violent eruption of the Zitla volcano, which occurred sometime between the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. This massive blanket of lava did not just serve as a destroyer, consigning the ancient city and its pyramid to oblivion, but at the same time became a perfect guardian, preserving nearly everything that remained for thousands of years. Even today, much of Cuicuilco's structure still lies deep beneath that dense black lava, inaccessible to full excavation or study. This has given rise to countless mysteries, as many experts believe that hidden beneath the lava may be a wealth of valuable artifacts, auxiliary structures, underground tunnels, or even special ceremonial areas that modern humans have yet to discover or decipher. Unlike famous pyramids such as Teotihuacan, Chichen Itza, or the monumental structures of Egypt, which usually have well-documented purposes, Cuicuilco is a major exception, as its true function remains the most debated subject in Mesoamerican archaeology. Some researchers believe that the pyramid's concentric circular shape, its axis oriented toward important seasonal sunset and sunrise points, as well as the steep steps leading to its summit, all suggest it was a place for religious ceremonies devoted to the sun, god agricultural cycles, and the cosmos. On certain special days of the year, sunlight would shine directly onto specific points along the steps, creating a mystical gateway of light effect for rituals. Other scholars have noted that the arrangement of the steps and marker points around the pyramid could have been used to track the movements of the sun-moon constellations and rare astronomical phenomena. If this is correct, Cuicuilco could be one of the oldest observatories in the Americas, even predating renowned centers like Uxmal or Copan. Furthermore, the flat platforms and expansive plazas surrounding the pyramid, along with numerous small figurines and ceremonial pottery uncovered in excavations, indicate that this was once a center for large-scale festivals and community gatherings. Each occasion may have related to important natural events, such as solar and lunar eclipses, floods, or droughts, and those who presided over the ceremonies, possibly a powerful priestly class, were likely highly knowledgeable about astronomy and the weather. Some bolder theories even suggest that Cuicuilco was essentially a gigantic cosmic machine, where the ancients replicated the structure of the universe, the cycles of time, and sacred cosmic axes, each concentric ring representing a layer of heaven, the steps serving as pathways for the gods and the central core as the intersection of sky, earth, and humanity. There are also opinions that the structure may have served a military function or acted as an emergency signaling station due to its height and unusual architecture. However, most archaeological evidence leans towards ceremonial and astronomical purposes rather than military ones. Despite the variety and logic of these theories, the irony is that to this day, archaeologists have yet to discover any inscription, stele, or ancient record directly describing the true function of Cuicuilco, and most of the figurines and carvings found on pottery are highly symbolic, making them extremely difficult to fully decipher. One reason Cuicuilco is even more mysterious is the abundance of unusual artifacts found around the pyramid, from strange deities, unique patterned pottery, to stone tools of a pre-era style. Especially, many motifs have never appeared in any other contemporary civilization. Archaeologists believe either Cuicuilco was a mother culture that inspired later civilizations, or it was an independent branch swallowed up by volcanic upheaval and history. After the volcanic disaster, the Cuicuilco people had to migrate en masse. Some theories hold that it was they who laid the foundations for Teotihuacan, the new, greatest power center of Central America. Construction techniques, rituals, and esoteric symbols from Cuicuilco may have been preserved and elevated to new heights. Moreover, the area around the pyramid is now mostly urbanized, making excavation and research very difficult. Beneath the lava, scientists believe countless secrets remain hidden, possibly underground systems, ritual treasures, or the final answers to the structure's purpose. The Cuicuilco circular pyramid remains one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, with its unique shape, advanced construction techniques, and a true purpose that has never been fully decoded. These unanswered questions have made it an open challenge for every generation of scientists, constantly fueling humanity's desire to explore. Perhaps if the thick layer of lava is ever completely removed, Cuicuilco will one day force us to rewrite a part of history about ancient thought, technology, and creativity. In the arid Altiplano region of western Bolivia, surrounded by ancient volcanoes and windswept grasslands, lies one of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries, the Sajama lines. There are no grand stone monuments, no gigantic pyramids, nor intricate reliefs carved like those of other civilizations. What made Sajama famous are the lines. At first, this might seem unremarkable, but if you look from above or simply observe satellite maps, you'll be immediately astonished. Thousands of endless straight lines running parallel or crossing each other, stretching as if with no end, sprawling over a barren area of more than 1,300 square kilometers. These lines are not just the traces of old pathways or natural water channels. They are so straight it feels surreal, as if someone had used a giant ruler and pencil to draw across the parched ground of the Andes. The total combined length of these lines exceeds 107,000 kilometers, a figure that leaves every researcher in awe. What do you think motivated ancient people to create these immense straight lines? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is exactly what makes the Sajama lines a mystery that has stunned the world. How did ancient people, with no modern technology, no advanced surveying equipment, no drones or satellite imagery, not even GPS, manage to create straight lines running for tens of kilometers, still perfectly straight, regardless of the terrain? Just standing on the ground, you can hardly see the end of a line that's as long as 15 or 18 kilometers. Yet the ancient people of Sajama, with only their naked eyes, bare hands, and minds that transcended the limits of their time, achieved what seems impossible. Archaeological and scientific studies have shown that the Sajama lines were created by scraping away the darker surface soil to reveal the lighter, brighter earth beneath. This process required unimaginable perseverance, walking using primitive tools to clear away small patches of earth, meter by meter, maintaining a straight path for many kilometers without deviating. No one knows for sure what method the ancients used to keep the lines straight while crossing uneven terrain, boulders, hills, or ravines. Some hypotheses suggest they used the position of mountain peaks, the sun, or the stars to determine direction, but that could only explain a small portion of this vast network of thousands of lines. The near-perfect precision leads many to suspect the existence of some kind of sacred technique or ancient geometric knowledge far beyond our own. Perhaps it was not just a feat of patience, but also evidence of a highly organized society, mobilizing hundreds, even thousands of people, working in perfect sync, maintaining direction for the many days, weeks, even years, something any ancient civilization would admire. Another marvel, the Sajama lines seem to ignore all natural obstacles. They do not curve or evade, but instead cut straight through everything in their path. High hills, valleys, rocky outcrops, even fields of scattered stones. When examined with modern satellite imagery, the amazement grows. These lines retain their straightness, even as they pass through natural obstacles. This raises big questions about the willpower and organizational skills of ancient people. Why not take an easier route, but insist on maintaining perfect straightness, no matter how difficult? Perhaps for them, this straightness held religious ritual or astronomical meaning. But it's also possible that this is a geometric language still undeciphered by modern humans. If there were only a few lines, you might think it was a natural phenomenon or the work of a small community. But the Sajama lines form a vast network, thousands of lines densely arranged, connecting distant places, intersecting at junctions like massive network nodes. Researchers estimate that the area covered by the Sajama lines extends over 1,300 square kilometers, the size of a large city. Some lines stretch continuously for more than 18 kilometers, measuring from 1 to 3 meters wide and carved down more than 30 centimeters deep into the earth. Some lines connect ancient villages, others point to mountain peaks, and some seem only to join sacred points in local spiritual culture. To this day, archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians still have no convincing answer to the question, why did ancient people create the Sajama lines? Some theories say they were pilgrimage routes. Believers would walk these lines to reach sacred shrines, spiritual crossroads paths connecting people and the divine. Other scholars think the Sajama lines were a type of giant ground map for marking territory or a system for encoding social and religious information, a kind of geometric script not yet deciphered. Interestingly, there are no drawings of animals, plants, or giant circles like at Nazca, Peru, a site famous for its ancient geoglyphs. The Sajama lines are just lines never forming any distinct image, making them all the more mysterious and unfathomable. With modern technology like GPS drones and satellites creating a network of thousands of straight lines, each stretching tens of kilometers, would not be easy, especially by hand. Yet the ancient people of Sajama did it thousands of years ago. Even surveying, measuring, and mapping the whole Sajama line system is a great challenge for today's scientists. Only through satellite imagery, geometric detection algorithms, and digital mapping have we begun to see the full picture. This makes the question, how did the ancients do it, even harder to answer? Because relying only on ground-level observation, how could they achieve such accuracy across such a vast area? Despite being larger and even more impressive than the famous Nazca lines, the Sajama lines remain little known in the world. That's because this land is so remote and harsh, with few tourists, little publicity, and little research coverage. Furthermore, scientists only started to pay serious attention to the Sajama lines a few decades ago, when satellite imagery technology became widely available. In the culture of the Aymara people, the Sajama lines are entwined with legends of spirit paths, where ancestors' souls journey toward the sacred Sajama volcano. Some legends say these are paths for spirits guiding the departed back to the divine. Anthropologists have found that many lines in the network connect ancient tombs, sacred sites, and mountain peaks deemed holy. Reflecting on this achievement, you have to wonder, what drove ancient people to be so persistent, meticulous, patient, and united? It may have been an unshakable faith in the divine, a will to bind the community together, a desire to leave eternal messages upon the earth, or simply a testament to the intelligence and organizational strength of an ancient civilization that has quietly vanished in the flow of history. To this day, the Sajama lines remain one of humanity's greatest unsolved mysteries. Who created them, how, and for what reason? All the theories, religious, astronomical, social, or geographical, are still just incomplete pieces of the puzzle. But perhaps it's precisely this that makes the Sajama lines truly magical. They inspire awe, curiosity, and a longing to discover untapped human potential. Nestled within the dense jungles of the Belizean highlands, the Caracol Observatory, sometimes also called the E Group or Caracol Astronomical Observatory, is not just an ancient architectural wonder, but also one of the greatest scientific mysteries left behind by the Maya civilization. Built thousands of years ago amidst wild nature and without any modern technology, this observatory still stands tall as a testament to the Mayas' advanced understanding of the cosmos and engineering. From the very first glance, the Caracol Observatory overwhelms visitors with its scale and its meticulously calculated spatial arrangement. At its center stands a massive temple base, a solid stepped pyramid surrounded by lower stone platforms, wide courtyards, and thick stone pathways. None of these were constructed randomly. Every stone, every step, every angle was directed toward a noble purpose, connecting the earth to the mysterious movements of the sky. What do you think about the Mayas' ability to build and align astronomical structures with such perfection at Caracol Observatory? Are there still secrets that have never been revealed? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. In Maya culture, the sky was not only the abode of the gods, but also a cosmic clock that determined human fate. To measure, observe, and predict celestial events, the Maya chose to build the Caracol Observatory on the flattest land possible, located in a position with wide visibility to both the eastern and western horizons. Remarkably, even when shrouded by rainforest, the ancients still selected the ideal site so that all astronomical markers would remain unobstructed. Layers of stone platforms, staircases, and corridors were all hewn from local limestone, a material both sturdy and extremely difficult to work with in the absence of modern metal tools. Transporting, cutting, stacking, and aligning tens of thousands of stones, large and small, into perfectly straight axes remains a huge mystery. There is no evidence of wheels, no advanced pulley systems, yet the Maya created absolutely flat surfaces sturdy enough to endure through millennia. The most unique aspect of the Caracol Observatory lies in its overall layout, a classic E-group structure consisting of a main pyramid and a row of stone platforms stretching eastward. Standing at the pyramid's central point, on days like the vernal equinox, autumnal equinox, summer solstice, and winter solstice, the sun rises or sets precisely through marked points on the eastern stone platform. This requires nearly perfect precision in angles, elevation, and distance, a gigantic challenge even for modern engineering. Many researchers have tried to simulate the process of determining these observation axes using astronomical software, modern compasses, and satellite maps. The results show that the deviation between the markers and the sun's actual position at key times of the year is less than 1 degree. This raises a profound question. What methods did the Maya use to determine the east-west axis, align marker points, and measure the sun's angle with such astonishing accuracy? The greatest enigma of the Caracol Observatory is the absolutely precise alignment between stone platforms, staircases, and astronomical markers. Some theories suggest that the Maya used temporary wooden stakes to track the sun's shadow, erecting guard tents for many years in succession to record the sun's rising or setting position on special days, then established permanent stone markers. But to maintain such stability and accuracy over hundreds of years, passing down knowledge through many generations, this remains a tremendous challenge for any ancient society. Moreover, the markers are not just on a single plane, but are aligned in 3 dimensions: the different elevations of the platforms, the precise distances and sight lines, so that from the center, one can see through stone gaps exactly when the sun appears on the horizon. Some modern architects compare building the Caracol Observatory to creating a fixed stone telescope, requiring knowledge of spatial geometry, time calculation, and highly refined construction skills. The Caracol Observatory does not exist in isolation. Surveys show that many other structures in the region have similar alignment axes, forming a network of astronomical observation points. These axes may have been used to track planetary movements, major stars like Venus, and may even relate to lunar cycles or rare celestial events such as solar and lunar eclipses. This synchronization further demonstrates that Maya astronomical knowledge and construction techniques far surpassed ordinary assumptions. Archaeologists have also found many symbols and exquisitely carved inscriptions on the stones at the Caracol Observatory, mostly related to Maya calendar cycles and sky deities. Some stones bear images of fire serpents, the sun, the moon, and spiral lines representing the endless cycles of the cosmos. There is a theory that the entire structure of the observatory was not just to measure time, but also served as a cosmic map in stone, allowing knowledge to be passed down through generations without needing paper or books. What makes the Caracol Observatory a global mystery is not only its scale and beauty, but also the question: did ancient people possess measuring and alignment methods beyond what modern science can imagine? Some researchers propose that beyond solar observation technique, the Maya might have used the phenomenon of light refraction, primitive reflective tools with water or shiny stone to determine key markers at crucial times of year. However, no physical evidence of such instruments has been found, so everything remains hypothetical. In Maya legends, the Caracol Observatory is said to be where the god Itzamna taught cosmic knowledge to kings and high priests. This structure was not only a time machine, but also a gateway for communicating with supernatural forces. Each ritual, each offering ceremony, was linked to significant celestial events, such as solar and lunar eclipses, the lunar cycle, or the rebirth of the sun on the winter solstice. Precise alignment between stone axes in the Maya worldview was not only for science, but also to create cosmic energy flows, channeling divine will into the human world. After decades of excavation and research, archaeologists have found many older stone foundations buried beneath the current observatory, suggesting the site underwent multiple phases of construction expansion and repair. Some platforms are aligned in different directions or had new stones inserted at crucial points, as if each generation upgraded alignment techniques to match changes in the sky due to the Earth's axial precession. This is evidence that the Maya did not just copy old structures, but continually improved, transmitting knowledge and refining techniques through many generations. Some broken stones buried deep below the surface bear distinct symbols and motifs, possibly relics of a pre-Maya culture or evidence of power struggles tied to control over astronomical and construction knowledge at the observatory. The rulers of Caracol used construction and astronomical alignment as a soft weapon to consolidate their power. By organizing festivals and rituals that coincided perfectly with rare celestial events, they crafted the image of those chosen by the gods with the power to predict the fate of heaven and earth. This not only controlled the beliefs of the people, but was also the foundation for Caracol's economic, agricultural, and commercial development for many centuries. Today, the Caracol Observatory is still a challenging puzzle for modern scientists. Even with advanced measuring equipment and simulations, the crucial secrets behind the Maya's construction and alignment techniques have yet to be fully deciphered. Each time sunlight passes through the stone gaps on the exact day of the equinox or solstice, we are reminded that this ancient knowledge still holds many lessons for future generations to learn and discover. There are ancient stones that are not just the remnants of time, but also mirrors reflecting the profound mysteries of prehistoric human minds. When setting foot in Bryn Celli Ddu, one of the most magnificent archaeological complexes in Europe, one cannot help but be overwhelmed by the dozens of massive stones encircling the famous Newgrange tomb. Hidden away in the shadowed northwest corner, Curbstone 52 stands out not for being at the center, but because of the secrets carved into its surface over millennia. This stone is like a wordless question left by ancient people for future generations. Every spiral groove, every enigmatic motif sparks curiosity, causing countless scholars, researchers, and mystery enthusiasts to pause, gaze, and continuously wonder what lies beneath that ancient surface. If Curbstone 1 has become a symbol thanks to its prominent position and iconic triple spiral motif, then Curbstone 52 is a map of collective memory, a place where every hypothesis, every yearning to unravel the unknown can begin. What do you think is hidden behind the mysterious carvings of Curbstone 52? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From the very first glance, this stone evokes a sense of another world, a world of ancient rituals, a wordless pictorial language that modern people can only gaze upon, speculate about, and marvel at. On its surface are interwoven spirals, zigzags, concentric circles, wave-like patterns, tangled and connected like a mental diagram encrypted in visual symbols. Since its discovery, Curbstone 52 has consistently been the subject of heated debate. Ultimately, what did ancient people intend to communicate through these carvings? Are they astronomical charts, agricultural calendars, or merely decorative patterns with spiritual significance? One of the greatest and most perplexing mysteries of Curbstone 52 lies in its true purpose and meaning. Many theories have been proposed, each colored by the era, the scientific school, or the cultural perspective of its proponents. Some claim these spirals, zigzags, and waves are actually astronomical calendars, encoded records of the cycles of the sun, the moon, perhaps even depicting major celestial events like the winter and summer solstices, times of crucial importance to ancient farmers. From this viewpoint, every spiral is a record of the universe's movements with humans, though small, forever longing to harmonize with the rhythms of the cosmos. Conversely, some researchers see Curbstone 52 as a spiritual map, its motifs not describing the physical motions of the universe, but rather the journey of the soul from the realm of the living to the realm of the dead, and continuing through cycles of rebirth. The interlaced circles and endless spirals, sometimes entwined with wavy lines, seem to tell a story of reincarnation, of the yearning for eternity, of transcending the limitations of finite space and time. Within the context of monumental tombs like Newgrange, built with highly complex architecture and an entrance precisely aligned with the sunrise on the winter solstice, many believe that the entire motif system on the curbstones, especially Curbstone 52, forms a library of symbols, a repository of sacred knowledge for an entire civilization. So who created these motifs, and what was their true purpose? That question echoes endlessly through time, without any definitive answer. Modern archaeological research demonstrates that the prehistoric people of Bryn Celli Ddu possessed sophisticated stoneworking skills using hard stone tools, bones, and antlers. The carvings on curbstone 52 are not the random work of an individual, but seem to result from collective thought, crystallized through generations, passing down memory and knowledge via stone. Another theory suggests these motifs are a ritual map, each symbol representing part of a ceremony, each carved line marking a step on the spiritual journey performed by Neolithic communities as they carried out rituals around the tomb. A striking point is that the spirals, and circles on curbstone 52 closely resemble archaeological finds in many other ancient civilizations, from Western Europe to the Mediterranean, even in far-off lands, such as Malta, Spain, or the Orkney Islands of Scotland. Did prehistoric people share a global geometric language, or is this simply a coincidence arising from the symbolic thinking that emerges when humans face the vast cosmos? The answer to this question remains open. But what makes curbstone 52 truly special is not just its artistic carving or technical mastery, but the enduring vitality of the mysteries it embodies. Over more than 5 millennia, the engravings remain clear on the stone's surface, defying the ravages of time, harsh weather, and even modern human intervention in excavation and conservation. This stone has been buried, eroded by rain and sun, yet it steadfastly continues to transmit its message to succeeding generations. In the solemn atmosphere of Newgrange, each winter solstice, when the first rays of sunlight penetrate the narrow passage and shine directly into the tomb's chamber, people say that the motifs on the curbstones come alive, becoming a bridge between the world of the living and the world of the dead. This may be why Neolithic communities invested so much effort and passion to create such a monumental ensemble, where each stone is not merely a building material, but an eternal script on the journey to discover the meaning of life and death. The greatest mystery of curbstone 52, therefore, is not only an archaeological question, but also one of humanity's existential meaning. Is it possible that in every era, humans have always carried within themselves a longing to leave a permanent mark in the infinite universe? Are the motifs on stone collective memory a signal sent to future civilizations, or simply an attempt to immortalize the small self through time? To this day, every interpretation remains a hypothesis. No one can be sure that the spirals on curbstone 52 symbolize the sun, the flow of the river Boyne, cycles of the seasons, or the soul's transformation. Nor can anyone determine with certainty what the creators of these engravings intended to transmit to posterity. Perhaps in this very uncertainty, curbstone 52 has perfectly fulfilled its role as a great enigma, ensuring that modern people do not simply gaze upon it, but always feel compelled to question, to reflect, even to imagine scenarios that history has never recorded. Curbstone 52 is a vivid testament to imagination, faith in mysteries, and the spirit of exploration that endures through all ages. Each generation looks at this stone with a different perspective. Some see cosmic messages, others sense spiritual depth, while still others admire its enduring craftsmanship. The mystery of the purpose and meaning of curbstone 52 will persist like an unspoken question, urging humanity to keep seeking and exploring. The spirals on its surface remind us to continue questioning and to never stop believing in the wonder of mysteries that remain unsolved. Along the sandy shores of the Black Sea, beneath the biting cold winds and the whispers of waves echoing through millennia, there exists a place that was once the heart of a lost civilization, a place where the silence of the past is preserved in every handful of earth, every moss-covered stone. This is the Durankulac Cemetery, one of the largest and most mysterious Neolithic burial complexes in Europe. Hidden beneath the desolate ground, more than 1,000 silent skeletons lie surrounded by strange artifacts and traces of rituals long faded into oblivion. Yet after countless years of excavation research and the search for clues, scientists are still faced with one simple question that seems impossible to answer. Who were the people buried here? What are their true identities, origins, and destinies? Who do you think these ancient people were? Share your theory in the comments. The discoveries at Durankulac began in the late 20th century when Bulgarian archaeologists accidentally unearthed some strange objects during a survey near a saltwater lake by the sea. Over many excavation seasons, they identified a vast cemetery dating from the Neolithic era, about 5,200 to 4,300 BCE, with more than 1,200 graves, a staggering figure that makes this one of the largest ancient cemeteries in Europe. But scale is not the only thing that makes Durankulac famous. As each layer of soil was peeled away, each skeleton uncovered, scientists realized they were standing before a living archive of material life, spirituality, faith, and unsolved human mysteries from 7 millennia ago. Within the graves of Durankulac, we see every slice of society, from children to the elderly, men and women, from those seemingly of high status, buried with dozens of valuable objects, to ordinary people, even mysterious mass burials. Grave goods are abundant shell necklaces, exquisite pottery, flint tools, primitive copper axes, emerald green glass beads, animal bone fragments. Each is a clue, revealing the material and spiritual life of the community. Yet behind this diversity lie signs of social stratification. Some graves, located centrally, contain many valuable objects, showing the owners were powerful figures. Meanwhile, many commoner graves contain only skeletons, no grave goods, perhaps belonging to the poor or even slaves. This stratification marks a major turning point in human history, proving that even in the Neolithic human society was no longer absolutely equal. Burial at Durankulac was not simply about covering a corpse. The remains reveal highly complex funeral rituals. Some graves are solitary, some are communal. Bodies are placed on their sides, clinging to personal objects. Some even show traces of lime, scattered shards of fired pottery, or deliberate burn marks. Some skeletons are fixed with stone rings. There are even double burials, one adult, one child, raising unanswered questions. What was their relationship? Why were they buried together? The burial practices and grave goods point to a complex belief system, possibly about the afterlife or reincarnation or rituals to console the souls of the dead. But all of this remains hypothetical. We have no texts or symbols to truly decode the wishes of these ancient people. At the heart of the Durankulac mystery, and the very reason this site has become such a lively topic of debate among European archaeologists for decades, lies the question: who were the people actually buried here? Some scholars argue that they may have been the direct ancestors of the Thracians, a brilliant civilization that once dominated the ancient Balkans. However, analyses of skull shapes, teeth, and even facial reconstructions all reveal significant mixing among various ethnic groups, showing traces of Anatolian peoples, and even those from as far as Mesopotamia. There is an even bolder hypothesis suggesting that Durankulac belonged to a lost culture existing before major ethnic groups emerged, possibly acting as a transitional link between the last hunter-gatherers and the first agricultural communities in Europe. Despite the recovery of numerous skeletons, the technology for ancient DNA analysis still faces obstacles due to climate geology and the intense decomposition of organic matter. Just a handful of DNA samples are not enough to draw firm conclusions about the ancestry and bloodlines of the inhabitants, creating a long-standing historical gap and leaving the true owners of the graves as little more than shadows in Europe's prehistoric landscape. In particular, certain artifacts such as copper jewelry, colored glass beads, and pottery forms are strikingly similar to discoveries from Anatolia, Mesopotamia, and even prehistoric Egypt. This raises the question: did there once exist a network of exchange across the Black Sea, connecting distant communities through trade migration, or perhaps even invasions? Or were these people a major migratory branch that entered Europe, bringing new knowledge, religions, and technologies with them? Adding to the enigma is the complete absence of writing or clear symbols on the graves and artifacts. No one knows what their language was, what they called themselves, what their deepest beliefs were, and even the pottery engravings are difficult to interpret. Are they merely decorations, ethnic markers, or messages left for future generations? Thus, Durankulac is truly a black box of Balkan prehistory, where the owners of the graves, their faces, bodies, and belongings remain unnamed, leaving a major question. Were they a vanished people, or the direct ancestors of the great civilizations that followed? One of Durankulac's most striking features is the appearance of early copper artifacts and jewelry among the earliest evidence of metal use in Europe, predating even many great civilizations like Egypt or Mesopotamia. These artifacts reveal a society with advanced metallurgy, skilled in exchanging crafting and using precious resources, a major leap in human history. Yet, the mystery deepens. Who first brought copperworking to Durankulac? Where did they learn it? Were they the original inventors? Might this be the bridge through which metal technology spread across ancient Europe? Beside the cemetery are traces of a large settlement, houses of clay and wood, storage pits, granaries, animal bones, evidence of cultivation. Research shows this was a stable, long-lived community, laying the foundations for agriculture and livestock raising in southeastern Europe. The complex links between settlement and cemetery reflect social organization, religious roles, and rites of passage between life and death. By the end of the Neolithic, the Durankulac community seems to have disappeared completely. Archaeological evidence shows a sudden halt in daily activities, burials, and construction. What happened? Theories range from climate change, prolonged drought, environmental shifts, to war, disease, or mass migration, but none have enough evidence. This only thickens the mystery curtain shrouding the grave owners. Durankulac is not just a cemetery, it's a symbol of what modern humans still do not fully understand about our ancestors. Here, every skeleton, every bead, every pottery shard is a giant question about origins, fate, beliefs, and the disappearance of a once thriving community. Who were the owners of the graves at Durankulac? Who were they really? Where did they come from? How did they live? And why did they leave this fertile land? Could it be that even now, within the blood of every European, lingers something of the ancient ghosts of Durankulac? In the barren lands of Lambayeque along the northern coast of Peru, today stands a nearly forgotten temple, Venturon. Hidden beneath layers of time's dust, the ruins of this temple astonish not only because of their age, close to 4,500 years, but also for their strange and extraordinary murals. These murals are powerful evidence of the advanced artistic vision and building techniques of prehistoric people. Imagine when the Egyptian civilization was just beginning, the anonymous artists of Venturon were already mixing pigments, creating textures, and painting fantastic figures on earthen walls, using techniques that even today scientists have yet to fully explain. What gave Venturon's murals their unique and everlasting mystery? What techniques and intellects allowed the people of Venturon to transcend their era and create such a lasting miracle for over 4,500 years? How many secrets are left to be unlocked? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The murals at Venturon did not use pigments derived from short-lived plant sources, but instead relied on a very sophisticated blend of natural minerals such as iron oxide for red kaolin, for white charcoal for black and hematite, or malachite for green, combined with extremely durable organic binders like tree resin, fish glue, or animal gelatin. As a result, these color layers are not only vibrant, but also capable of surviving for thousands of years, regardless of the hot and humid climate, rain and wind, or even fires that occurred long after. What is special about the technique of the Venturon artisans is that they did not simply mix powdered pigment with water and brush it onto the walls. Instead, they demonstrated a deep understanding of materials chemistry. They would grind and filter the mineral powders until they achieved a uniform fineness, then soak or fire them to remove impurities, and only then blend them in special ratios depending on the color and its specific purpose. The finished color layer did not merely stick to the surface, but actually penetrated deep into the underlying plaster, creating a semi-translucent effect so that natural light shining through the thin layer of color could alter the hue or appearance depending on the viewing angle, giving the ancient murals a mysterious and vibrant beauty. Instead of building walls with cut stone or fired brick like other civilizations, Venturon's artisans used a type of superplaster made from earth, sand, gravel, and organic materials such as plant fibers and crushed seashells. This plaster base is remarkably strong, able to withstand pressure, and highly resistant to cracking over time. Before painting, the artists would spread a thin layer of white plaster over the surface, creating a fresh, moist, and absorbent foundation. This was the crucial secret. The pigments would penetrate deeply into this coating, locking the colors in place and preventing them from flaking off due to temperature changes or moisture exposure. Many Venturon murals also have underpaintings in earthen brown or gray tones, which help to modulate the light and transparency of the color layers above, a technique strikingly similar to those used in Italian Renaissance frescoes, but developed nearly 4,000 years earlier. Archaeologists discovered that many Venturon murals were painted directly onto wet plaster fresco, meaning the artist had to work extremely quickly. Just a few hours after applying the base, the color would bond and be locked in forever. If they were too slow, the color would blur or peel away. This required not only skill, but also experience and precise preparation, the right amount of color, careful mixing, and even planning each brushstroke, showing these could not have been made by mere amateurs. This technique is so sophisticated that European civilizations would need thousands more years to perfect it, as in Pompeii's murals or Italian churches. But at Venturon, it appeared fully formed at an astonishingly early time. Over thousands of years, the murals of Venturon have astonishingly retained their vivid red, bright white, deep black, and warm ochre yellow hues, never fading like the wall paintings of many other ancient cultures. This remarkable durability is the result of using natural pigments and the artist's careful choice of locations, painting only in places sheltered from harsh sunlight, direct moisture, and blowing dust. But it wasn't just the colors that set these murals apart. Their composition was equally masterful. The paintings were laid out along entrance walls, main pillars, and sight lines, down corridors strategically positioned to make the most of natural light. As the sun moved throughout the day, the interplay of light and shadow caused the mural's colors to shift, making the painting seem to move, creating a sense of sacredness and mystery for worshippers. In many ways, the artists of Venturon were already playing with light, a sophisticated artistic effect that Western painters would not systematically develop until the 15th century. Examination of the plaster and pigments shows that some older murals were painted over by new ones, but not entirely erased. After each ritual cycle or major event, according to radiocarbon dating, the people of Venturon would renew their sacred space by painting a new layer over the old, preserving important motifs, adding details or new colors. This kind of palimpsest both showed reverence for the divine and created a map of memory across generations. The most astonishing aspect is that despite enduring earthquakes, fires, and thousands of years of weathering, many of the murals at Venturon have remained as sharp and clear as if they had just been painted. Modern chemical analysis reveals that some protective layers possess water resistance, prevent salt damage, and inhibit mold growth, a conservation technology that modern science is only now beginning to imitate through the use of silicon and polymer compounds, while the exact formula used by the people of Venturon still remains unknown. Some hypotheses suggest that they may have used local tree resins with natural antibacterial properties, or perhaps combined special types of soil with extraordinary water-absorbing capabilities such as bentonite clay. There are even theories that the artisans of Venturon might have soaked their materials in mineral salts or fish oil before painting to increase the durability of their work. Many archaeologists ask, how could such an ancient, isolated community in Peru develop such sophisticated materials technology? Was there a connection to other Central American civilizations, or was this the fruit of local genius? Some pigment samples at Venturon show similarities to those used at the Caracol site, or even farther afield in Central America, but the evidence is still unclear. If this technique was an independent invention, it is a testament to prehistoric chemical thinking where humans not only used but improved and optimized natural resources to serve religion, art, and spiritual life. The murals of Venturon are a symphony of chemistry, art, and spirituality. From pigment selection to plaster technique, from compositional lighting to visual effects, all show that the people here were not merely painters, but material engineers, art designers, shamans, philosophers, united in a small but extraordinarily intelligent community. Today, when we stand before a wall still bearing a red stain, we do not only see an ancient artwork, we witness a process of creativity, innovation, and the drive to master nature itself. What they achieved with humble materials and local knowledge remains a major question for modern science. Like a message sent from a distant past, the friezes on the walls of Huaca de los Reyes continue to puzzle and amaze modern scientists. Amidst the wind-swept deserts of northern Peru, where the Cuicuilco culture once flourished, these vividly colored relief walls have survived millennia, preserving not only artistic beauty in every detail, but also concealing technological secrets beyond our imagination. Each frieze is not simply a decorative work, it is a challenge left for future generations. Can people today truly uncover and decode all the technical, chemical, and organizational secrets that have allowed these masterpieces to endure so steadfastly through the ages? What do you think is the greatest secret behind the Huaca de los Reyes friezes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The friezes at Huaca de los Reyes are mainly made from adobe, a sun-dried brick material mixed with clay, sand, gravel, and organic additives, such as straw grass or ground shell powder. What is truly astonishing is that after more than 3,000 years, These raised clay layers still retain their solid structure, crisp edges, and intricate patterns, with some colors still vivid. Scientists have analyzed the material composition, yet so far they have not been able to fully explain the mixing secrets that enhance durability, elasticity, water resistance, and mold protection in the humid climate of Peru's coastal region. The ancient clay processing techniques demanded extremely strict moisture control, precise mixing ratios, kneading, sculpting, and smoothing skills, a sequence of operations that combined both artistry and material science. The fact that these friezes have withstood thousands of years of rain and sun without collapsing or dissolving stands as testimony to knowledge far ahead of its time. One of the most shocking aspects is the color retention of these friezes. Despite the harsh impact of nature, many details still maintain brick red, ochre yellow, coal black, or ivory white tones, and some even shimmer with a metallic effect in the light. To this day, scientists cannot precisely determine the chemical composition of these ancient paints. The prevailing theory is that the Cuicuilco people knew how to use mineral pigments such as iron hematite, limonite, manganese, copper gold, or natural oxides blended with organic binders, tree resins, or protein-based compounds with extraordinary adhesive strength. The process of painting on clay was not simply a matter of applying color, it could have involved priming surface treatment and a protective topcoat. The color durability of the Huaca de los Reyes friezes rivals and even surpasses that of other contemporary civilizations like Egypt, Mesopotamia, or ancient China, despite Peru's far more severe climate. The most distinctive feature of these friezes is their powerful three-dimensional effect. Every feline deity, face claw, spiral motif, coiling snake, and horned demon, projects boldly from the wall, ranging from 10 to 30 centimeters, forming a continuous relief stretching dozens of meters. This required artisans to have knowledge of spatial geometry, perspective, proportionality, symmetry, and an understanding of material properties. The creation process began with constructing an adobe wall frame, followed by applying successive layers of clay, shaping the main elements, adding smaller details, smoothing and carving to form the final shapes. Collaboration among artisans to join different relief panels, maintain accurate proportions, and conceal seams, especially without modern measuring tools, demonstrates the exceptional organization and training capacity of the Cuicuilco people. Huaca de los Reyes is a multi-level temple complex with hidden corridors, ceremonial chambers, and relief-decorated walls. The largest friezes reach heights of up to 1.2 meters, lengths of 2 to 3 meters, and weights of hundreds of kilograms. The question arises, how could ancient people lift, attach, and integrate these massive reliefs onto adobe walls without collapse, misalignment, or detachment over time? Theories suggest they used primitive scaffolding systems, ropes, pulleys, and even molds to support the back of the wall while the clay dried. The skill of constructing contoured walls, attaching heavy reliefs to soft surfaces, balancing and joining individual details without collapse or cracking attests to an impressive understanding of applied physics far beyond the technical standards of many other places in the world at the time. One great mystery is how a prehistoric group of artisans without writing or machinery could standardize style, maintain mythological motifs and geometric proportions, and keep quality consistent over hundreds of meters of friezes. Studies of the reliefs show traces of primitive blueprints, guideline marks, and anchor points on the walls made with charcoal-colored clay or string, so that artisan groups could work together much like a form of modern project management. Such coordination also demanded a high level of skill transmission. Younger generations had to learn, practice, and even work alongside the masters to ensure production was uninterrupted, error-free, and stylistically cohesive. Ordinary clay reliefs are easily cracked, dissolved in humidity, develop white mold, or are destroyed by burrowing animals. Yet Huaca de los Reyes has endured for thousands of years. How recent research suggests the frieze surfaces may have been covered with a protective mortar made from finely ground minerals or with special waterproof tree resins. There is even evidence that ancient builders knew how to select clay with salt-resistant properties or mix in antibacterial mineral powders. Such phenomena have been found only in a few exceptionally rare Peruvian sites, indicating this was exclusive indigenous knowledge, a secret technology lost before later generations could inherit it. When the Huaca de los Reyes friezes are placed beside those from Egypt, Mesopotamia, or ancient China, their craftsmanship is clearly on par, sometimes even more innovative in terms of materials, spatial design, and preservation methods. While other civilizations usually favored carving in stone, wood, or metal, Cupisnique artisans chose a soft yet durable material, maximizing local resources and developing a completely independent technological system. For generations, the unresolved mysteries surrounding the advanced craftsmanship of Huaca de los Reyes have continued to puzzle scientists. These include the secret formula for mixing clay sand and special additives that allowed the friezes to withstand high humidity and harsh weather, the strange chemical recipes that enabled the colors to remain vibrant for thousands of years without fading or losing their pigmentation, the surface coating process capable of resisting mold and preventing the infiltration of microorganisms, and the wall-building techniques that allowed three-dimensional friezes to be attached to adobe surfaces without sagging, cracking, or shifting from their original alignment. In addition, the methods of labor organization, progress control, and skill transmission between generations of artisans helped maintain the quality and consistency of the imagery on a large scale. Ultimately, what troubles scholars most is the true purpose of these friezes. Were they merely decorative, or did they serve as a kind of special ritual technology capable of creating light effects, sound, and spiritual resonance for the mysterious religious ceremonies of the ancient people? Today, even with advanced modern technology, engineers and researchers still have to acknowledge that Huaca de los Reyes represents an achievement far ahead of its time by the Cupisnique people. This monument not only inspires research into materials and architecture, but also raises the question, do these ancient friezes still conceal special technological secrets that modern science has yet to uncover? Huaca de los Reyes friezes are not only a living museum of art, but also a tremendous challenge to every modern materials science discipline. Behind the mysterious feline deities, fierce claws, and coiled serpents lies an entire system of material technology, chemistry, construction, and labor organization that far exceeded contemporary standards. Although those secrets may have been partly buried by time's dust, the physical legacy that remains continues to awe, intrigue, and inspire future generations. It can be said that among all the artifacts unearthed from the deepest layers of human history, the Denisovan bracelet is one of the discoveries that has most shaken the worlds of archaeology and modern science. Far more than just a prehistoric piece of jewelry, it is a mysterious letter from the past, challenging everything we know about technological prowess, craftsmanship, abstract thinking, and the cultural development of ancient human species. In particular, the enigma of the bracelet's manufacturing technology remains a major unanswered question, even to the extent that many scientists believe it surpassed anything Homo sapiens was capable of at the same time. What do you think enabled the Denisovans to craft such an incredible bracelet? How many other ancient technological mysteries do you believe are still waiting to be discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the early years of the 21st century, within the cold, deep layers of sediment at Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains, archaeologists discovered a strange green stone fragment, polished, drilled, and bearing wear marks from prolonged use. After piecing together the fragments, they realized this was an ancient bracelet, and radiometric dating indicated it had been crafted 40,000 to 70,000 years ago. This was not a time of flourishing civilization with metalworking or the wheel, but an era when most humans still lived as nomads, making tools from rough stone and animal bones. The creator of this bracelet was neither modern, human Homo sapiens, nor Neanderthal, but a mysterious species, Denisovan. This lineage was only recently discovered thanks to a few fossilized bone and tooth fragments and traces of ancient DNA found at the cave. Yet their legacy is one of the rarest ancient masterpieces, far exceeding any expectations about the skills and technical thinking of Paleolithic times. The Denisovan bracelet was crafted from chlorite, a type of green stone, not found in the Denisova Cave area. This has raised many questions about the possibility of movement and material exchange between prehistoric human groups, something previously thought to be impossible. However, what astonished scientists the most is the bracelet's exquisite craftsmanship. The stone's surface was polished smooth and glossy, not by natural processes, but through meticulous manual work. Both the inner and outer edges are carefully rounded and sleek, providing a comfortable fit for the wearer and demonstrating a deep understanding of geometry and functional design. Especially remarkable is the perfectly round hole drilled through the bracelet, with both diameter and depth being completely uniform. This hole is extremely clean and precise, showing no signs of cracks or chipping, as seen in other primitive drilling artifacts from the same period. Microanalysis even reveals that the drill marks are spiral-shaped, a characteristic of high-speed rotary drilling or tools with exceptionally hard cutting edges. To this day, no one has explained exactly what tools the Denisovans used or how they achieved such precision, and many theories now ask whether there may have once existed lost techniques or materials that we know nothing about today. The greatest mystery surrounding the Denisovan bracelet's manufacturing technology lies in three key aspects. First is the drilling tool. The cut of the bracelet's hole was not made by conventional chiseling, hammering, or manual boring, but instead shows evenly spiraled marks, closely resembling those left by a bow drill or high-speed rotary tool types of implements that only became widely used globally in the Neolithic period, or even the Age of Metals. Drilling through relatively hard chlorite stone would have required an exceptionally sharp and durable drill bit, perhaps made from quartz or metal materials that, according to archaeological evidence, simply did not exist at that time. Remarkably, the drill hole on the bracelet bears no cracks or chipping, demonstrating that the Denisovan craftsperson was able to control the drilling force and speed with extraordinary precision, something extremely difficult to achieve even with primitive tools. Second is the technique of grinding and polishing. Microscopic studies have found that the bracelet's surface is covered in fine, consistently oriented scratches, completely different from other contemporary artifacts which were merely ground using coarse sand or animal bone. Some researchers hypothesize that Denisovans may have used extremely fine abrasives or even possessed a unique manual polishing method capable of creating a mirror-like shine on stone, a technique very similar to that of jade artisans in East Asia tens of thousands of years later. Producing such a smooth, glossy object also suggests patience, meticulousness, and perhaps the result of a collective process or a long-standing tradition of apprenticeship. Finally, the Denisovan's technical thinking and aesthetic sensibility were far ahead of their time. The bracelet was not only optimized for practical use, but also expresses a strong sense of artistry. The chlorite stone was chosen for its rare green color, which, when exposed to light, gives off a mysterious glow, likely intended for use in rituals or as a symbol of authority. All these factors show that Denisovans did not simply make tools to survive, but also created objects of genuine cultural, spiritual, and artistic value. The existence of the Denisovan bracelet has forced scientists to reconsider all previous theories about the technological capabilities of ancient human species, as the evidence of exquisite craftsmanship on this artifact has led many experts to believe that the Denisovans may have invented advanced techniques, but that this knowledge was lost due to climate change, migration, or even their own extinction. It is entirely possible that there once existed methods of passing down skills and craftsmanship secrets through generations, but these too have vanished completely, leaving us with a gap in our understanding of ancient technological progress. Notably, some bold opinions even suggest that the technical, or even cognitive abilities of ancient humans may have far surpassed their era, but all traces have been erased, leaving behind only isolated artifacts like this bracelet. So, is the Denisovan bracelet the result of individual genius, the achievement of a forgotten advanced culture, or evidence that the history of human development does not in fact unfold in a simple straight line? This discovery has sparked lively debates among scholars about the possibility that material knowledge and skills were exchanged between ancient human communities far beyond their local boundaries. It also raises questions about whether there once existed technological milestones that were subsequently interrupted or lost due to war, natural disasters, extinction, or simply because they were not passed down to later generations. Furthermore, the creative mindset, aesthetic sense, and social consciousness of ancient humans might have been far more diverse and complex than what traditional scientific perspectives have assumed. Despite all controversy, this bracelet continues to inspire millions of history and science enthusiasts and anyone fascinated by unsolved human mysteries. It is a reminder that humanity's past is not a simple straight line of evolution, but a tapestry woven from countless inventions, breakthroughs, failures, and non-linear leaps where a single small artifact can shake centuries-old theoretical frameworks. The Denisovan bracelet stands as vivid evidence of the mysteries, diversity, and boundless creativity of our ancestors. The technological enigma behind this bracelet not only earns our admiration, but also drives future generations to keep searching, exploring, and questioning the true nature of human history. This bracelet, with its mysterious spiral traces and mirror-like polish, will forever remain a relic of a lost civilization challenging every boundary of modern knowledge. Amid the vast and desolate plains of Extremadura, where the sun scorches ancient ruins, there exists a site that has left generations of archaeologists speechless, confronted with questions that remain unanswered: the Cancho Roano sanctuary. This is not merely a temple or a simple ruin, but a testament to a level of technology and construction technique that far surpasses what we thought possible for the Iron Age. The solid walls, the resilient clay bricks, the underground water management system, and the exquisite artifacts found here seem to defy every established rule of ancient technological evolution. Why did such a strange structure rise from the heart of the Iberian Peninsula? Who were the true masters behind this sophisticated craftsmanship? And for what reason was the entire complex destroyed through a mysterious ritual rather than simply vanishing in violence or neglect. What do you think is the greatest mystery of Cancho Roano? Share your thoughts in the comments below. When it was first excavated in the 1970s, Cancho Roano astonished experts with its scale and its bizarre layout. Unlike typical ruins, this is a complex consisting of many thick layers of walls, hidden rooms, winding corridors, and a large ritual pit at the center, all meticulously planned with proportions so precise they recall the blueprints of modern engineers. Most remarkable is the quality of construction walls made of unfired bricks, interspersed with large stones coated in clay, with ingredients that regulate temperature and resist humidity, ensuring the structure's stability through millennia. The rooms are cleverly interconnected, and an underground drainage system runs along the foundations, completely surpassing the standards of the Iron Age on the Iberian Peninsula. The unfired bricks at Cancho Roano were far from primitive. Research shows they were made from a refined clay mixture with added organic materials, then dried using an extremely strict temperature control process. The result was square, uniform bricks with outstanding resistance to moisture and mold, very similar to the brick-making technology found in major civilizations like Babylon or Egypt. Tens of thousands of such bricks were used stacked precisely into enclosing walls up to 3 meters thick. Beyond the bricks, the foundations of Cancho Roano were paved with granite and slate slabs cut perfectly flat and fitted so tightly that in many places not even a blade could fit between them. What is truly astonishing is how the ancients combined different materials, brickstone and rammed earth, into a durable system, with each layer serving a purpose, bearing loads, insulating or waterproofing, all contributing to the long-term stability of the entire structure. For a building located in a lowland area and exposed to the Mediterranean climate, controlling groundwater and rainwater was crucial. Archaeologists discovered an underground network of drains and water channels beneath Cancho Roano, carefully engineered with just the right slopes to ensure that not a single drop of water lingered too long, an impressive feat of ancient hydraulic technology. This system was built from brick and slate, with some sections lined with ceramic to increase durability. Wastewater and rainwater were collected in a large central pit that served as both a ritual well and a natural drainage outlet. Even during historic floods, the site did not collapse or erode. Artifacts found at Cancho Roano reveal a level of craftsmanship far ahead of its time. Thin-walled ceramics with embossed, incised and complex painted designs, many shapes never before seen on the Iberian Peninsula. Notably, many vessels had a glassy glaze, proving that ancient people there could control kiln temperatures above 1,000 degrees Celsius, a skill only Eastern civilizations had achieved at that period. Metal objects such as bronze, gold, silver, and ivory were crafted with elaborate designs and exquisite lines. Many rings, pins, and pendants were engraved with mythological motifs, sun symbols, and intricate geometric patterns clearly influenced by Phoenician, Greek, and Middle Eastern cultures. Particularly remarkable were metal objects made using hollow casting and micro-welding techniques, methods exceptionally rare in ancient Europe. Not only was local technology outstanding, but Cancho Roano also reveals global exchange in every brick and smallest artifact. Many experts believe the ancient engineers adopted technologies from Phoenician or Carthaginian merchant civilizations, famous for their construction, metallurgy, and hydraulic skills. Reliefs and engraved panels are decorated in Eastern styles depicting deities, chariots, and mythical creatures similar to those found in Assyria or Egypt. Many altar models and offerings also reflect the rectangular layout, ceremonial stairways, and fortress-style gates of Mesopotamian city-states. Technology at Cancho Roano was not only for construction, but also embedded in religious rituals. Many sacrificial objects were specially designed for one-time use. Once dedicated, they were buried in ritual pits, never to be retrieved. Some items were heated nearly to melting before burial, revealing very precise temperature control. The central ritual pit served both as a water well and a repository for offerings composed of multiple scientifically arranged burial layers. Each time the building was reconstructed, layers of artifacts, animal bones, ceramics, and metals were methodically added, forming a ritual archive beneath the earth that survives to this day. One of the greatest mysteries is that around 370 BCE, the entire structure was deliberately burned and buried. Traces of ash layers, scorched walls, and carefully arranged items beneath the floor all point to a closure ritual, not the result of war. Many scholars believe this process required meticulous planning, controlling the fire, placing offerings, and ensuring the ash layers would preserve the structure after burning. The building technology here anticipated controlled self-destruction, allowing intended items to remain intact for posterity after thousands of years. Even today, modern engineers are amazed when studying Cancho Roano's structure. How could ancient people, without measuring devices or modern materials, build a massive resilient structure that withstood weather, earthquakes, and floods for over 2,000 years? How did they glaze ceramics work, delicate metals, cut perfectly flat stones, make underground drainage, and transport heavy materials from afar? There are many hypotheses about assistance from foreign merchants or engineers, but there is still no concrete evidence for who imparted these skills. Every brick, every length of drain, every ceramic item is a challenge to researchers, shattering all preconceptions of Iron Age Iberian backwardness. Today, Cancho Roano attracts archaeologists and experts from all over the world to study it. From every brick layer of ash to the sacrificial pits, they recognize the exceptional creativity and advanced techniques of ancient people. Cancho Roano itself proves that our ancestors, though often considered primitive, still achieved technological and artistic feats that astonish the modern world, while also raising big questions about the possible existence of a mysterious ancient school of engineers with knowledge far ahead of their time. Cancho Roano Sanctuary is not just an archaeological structure, it is proof of ancient humanity's ability to transcend every technical limit. Their craftsmanship peak is not only reflected in materials or construction technique, but also in their ritual mastery, spiritual significance, and the enduring power of their monuments. Every brick offering and ash layer is an unwritten chapter of legend. Perhaps not many artifacts from the Bronze Age spark as many questions, debates, and imagination as the two horned bronze helmets unearthed at Vikso, Denmark, now known as the Vikso horned helmets. When people hear horned helmets, they often think of the fierce Viking warriors of Northern Europe. But the truth about these two artifacts is completely different in age, crafting technique, and intended use. This unique combination of bizarre appearance, great archaeological value, and unresolved mystery has turned the Vikso horned helmets into a living treasure in human history. What do you think makes the two Vikso horned helmets the most special and mysterious? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the year 1942, in the marshes of Revehoy, near the village of Vikso, two conical bronze helmets, each adorned with two large curved horns, were accidentally unearthed by a farmer digging soil. Instantly, archaeologists realized these were not ordinary items. Radiocarbon analysis dated them to about 900 to 800 years before Christ, meaning they predated the Viking Age by at least 1 millennium. This period belongs to the Nordic Bronze Age, when local agricultural and metallurgical communities were at their peak in craftsmanship. Unlike the sturdy, practical steel helmets commonly seen among medieval soldiers, the Vixo horned helmets have a design that at first glance makes it clear they could never have been used in real combat. Two large curved horns jutting out from either side the helmet body, intricately decorated with abstract strange motifs. Bull horns did appear in Egyptian and Mesopotamian art, but in continental Europe, such fully intact artifacts are extremely rare. Researchers agree that given their weight and peculiar shape, anyone wearing these helmets could not have moved nimbly in battle. This is why the ritual hypothesis is favored. These helmets likely belong to shamans, kings or figures presiding over religious ceremonies, not to warriors. While bullhorn imagery is common in ancient civilizations, often tied to fertility, procreative power, or deities like the sun god or bull god in Egypt, the true meaning of the Vixo helmets remains a big question. Some scholars suggest they represent the sun or rain-calling rituals common in agricultural societies of that era. The helmets are further adorned with large circular motifs resembling owl eyes or suns, evoking fertility cults or animal deity worship. Yet because no ancient text specifically describes them, all interpretations remain theoretical, opening a wide arena for debate on the religion and society of Bronze Age Northern Europe. The truly astonishing aspect of the Vixo horned helmets lies in their advanced manufacturing technology. While many might assume that Bronze Age societies were limited to primitive levels, a close examination of these two helmets can completely change that perception. Both helmets were crafted entirely from bronze, using seamless casting techniques and extremely sophisticated manual assembly. The helmet bodies are tall and conical, elegantly tapered, with thin, even walls, demonstrating metallurgical skills of remarkable precision that far surpassed the standards of their era. The bronze horns were formed separately, then firmly attached to the helmet body with tight joints, leaving no visible trace of any manual welding. All the rims and decorative motifs, like concentric circles and geometric patterns, were meticulously engraved crisp down to the finest millimeter. Not content with making only one, the artisans produced both helmets at the same time, nearly identical in every detailed dimension and decoration. This shows the manufacturing process was not a matter of improvisation, but directed, planned, and standardized, a rare feat for ancient societies. Even today, creating two such complex and identical artifacts by hand remains a significant challenge. Modern analysis reveals that the bronze alloy used for the helmets is of extremely high purity, with an ideal blend to ensure it is hard but not brittle, easy to shape, yet durable across millennia. The techniques of melting, pouring, slow cooling, or cold forging to prevent cracking demanded both experience and secret formulas. The horns were not carelessly attached, but joined using compression and clamping techniques so that the surface is seamless, corrosion-resistant, and shows no welding marks. This demonstrates the creator's deep understanding of materials and mastery of manual techniques worthy of a true craftsman. In fact, scientists who have replicated the process confirm that just a single misstep will cause the material to crack or fail to form properly. After more than 2,800 years lying in weakly acidic marshes, the two helmets have retained their almost original shape with little corrosion and no structural deformation. This could only be achieved thanks to a special protective layer from high-grade bronze alloy combined with the marsh's oxygen-poor environment. This unique combination makes the artifacts both a miracle of nature and proof of the technological stature of prehistoric Northern European metallurgy. One unexpected consequence of the discovery of the Vixo horned helmets is that they accidentally inspired the now famous image of Viking warriors wearing horned helmets. In fact, there is no archaeological evidence that Vikings ever wore horned helmets in battle. This image became popular through 19th century artworks and films when European archaeologists and artists reconstructed history using the Vixo helmets and some similar horned relics as reference. This misunderstanding not only illustrates the power of popular media, but also cements the symbolic influence of these two ancient helmets on Western historical perception. The two helmets were not found alone, but together with other items like jewelry and bronze tools, all located in the marsh environment. Archaeologists believe this was a site of ritual offering, where ancient people dedicated treasures to the gods, praying for harvests, favorable weather, or divine protection. This further supports the theory that the Vixo helmets were not everyday items, but ceremonial crowns reserved for those with the highest religious or social standing of their time. The biggest mystery about the Vixo horned helmets is who truly owned these two artifacts. Why were both helmets buried together, perhaps as a symbol of unified power, or to represent two opposing deities? In what ceremonies were they used, and for what purpose? And why, above all, does only the Vixo area possess this kind of helmet, when nowhere else in Bronze Age Europe has anything similar? No text inscription or ancient artwork gives any hint, leaving all theories in the realm of speculation. Today, the Vixo horned helmets are not only proof of the superior metallurgy and craftsmanship of prehistoric people, but also an enduring symbol of human creativity, belief, and ability to master the material world. They encourage archaeologists, historians, engineers, and modern artisans alike to look back, learn, and never stop questioning the limits of technology, even when only basic tools and limited resources are available. These horned helmets remind us mystery and the unknown are what drive humanity to explore, create, and transcend boundaries once thought impossible. The Vixo horned helmets are not just two ancient bronze helmets, they are the symbol of a civilization that once reached the pinnacle of metallurgy, artistic vision, and religious ritual. The meticulousness, precision, and durability of the Vixo horned helmet's craftsmanship went far beyond their time, leaving humankind with an unsolved mystery and an endless source of inspiration for generations to come. The story of the two horned helmets from the Danish marshes is still being written, and perhaps their real secrets are just waiting for future generations to uncover. Nestled quietly on the Huaca plateau at the heart of one of the most brilliant centers of Zapotec civilization, Tomb 104 at Monte Alban remains one of the most mysterious and challenging ancient tombs for both archaeologists and materials science experts today. Even though it was discovered and studied decades ago, every corner of Tomb 104 seems to keep its own unsolved secret. How were the Zapotec able to build, decorate, and preserve such a discreet, colorful, and sturdy underground space for more than a millennium without collapse or fading, unlike so many other structures of the same era? What do you think enabled the Zapotec people to create and preserve Tomb 104 for over 1,000 years? Are there secrets that modern science still hasn't uncovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stepping into Tomb 104, anyone would be overwhelmed by the harmonious combination of architecture, sculpture, and painting. The main chamber is a rectangular room, its walls covered with vibrant murals, shades of red, yellow, white, and black, standing out on a white plaster background depicting mythological scenes, religious rituals, and the powerful spirits of the Zapotec. The vividness of these ancient hues has forced many archaeologists to admit If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would hardly believe this was created over 1,000 years ago. Yet the special quality lies not just in the aesthetics or the symbolic value of the paintings, but in the very nature of the materials, construction techniques, and mysterious preservation methods that have enabled them to endure through time. In Tomb 104, the plaster pigments and stone walls remain tightly bound, not peeling, not moldy, not noticeably faded, even after withstanding climate changes, earthquakes, and the invasion of underground moisture for more than 10 centuries. Recent research has shown that the Zapotec used rare natural minerals to color their murals red, from hematite yellow, from goethite black, from manganese white, from kaolin. But the biggest controversy is the perfect adhesion of these pigments to the plaster base, even though they did not use organic binders like tree resin or protein, which would easily decay. Some theories suggest they might have used a secret solvent or a special thermal or chemical process before applying the pigments, but modern chemical analyses have yet to determine the exact formula. Moreover, the plaster in Tomb 104 is a double mystery, unlike the typical plaster found in other civilizations of the era. Here it features a special ratio of minerals, creating a microcrystalline structure that is both strong and elastic, helping to resist mold, cracking, and salt efflorescence, the usual enemies of underground structures. Even in sections where the walls were exposed to moisture for extended periods, the pigments still cling tightly even when tested with laser ablation. Experts are amazed by its inexplicable durability. The deeper one explores Tomb 104, the more it becomes clear the Zapotec did not simply bury a box under the earth, but carefully calculated the structure materials, orientation, and even the internal ventilation. The tomb entrance has a vaulted design, with hidden air channels along the corridor, allowing gentle airflow to prevent mold. The floors and stone walls are paved with large, tightly joined slabs set at a slight angle, so groundwater can drain away instead of pooling inside. Tomb 104 can be seen as a miniature underground climate laboratory, where every detail from structure angle and ventilation to building materials was optimized for preserving the objects and murals within. This goes far beyond the known level of underground construction technology in other American or world civilizations of the time. Another big question: for more than 1,000 years, Tomb 104 has withstood natural disasters, earthquakes, storms, climate change, even looting or invasions, while its structure and murals remain almost intact. Cracks and subsidence are extremely rare. Even dust and mold have barely encroached. Many experts believe the outer stone walls of Tomb 104 were built in a double shell system, the outer layer for strength and waterproofing, the inner for temperature and humidity control. The small gap between these walls acts as a buffer zone, limiting the intrusion of water chemicals or minor earthquakes. Additionally, the especially thick stone doors act as sealed gates, allowing only minimal airflow, reducing oxidation, and preventing insects or microbes from entering. Some ancient Zapotec texts record the use of natural resins to seal stone joints, protecting against water and insects, but there is still no large enough physical sample to fully verify this theory. At Tomb 104, every mural symbol and pattern serves a dual purpose, both to honor deities and sacred animals, and as invisible guides, protecting the tomb from time and human disturbance. Mythological motifs, birds, snakes, jaguars, figures in ceremonial headdress, not only convey Zapotec spirituality, but may encode the secrets of preservation. Some scholars believe these secrets were hidden in the symbols and rituals known only to priests or royalty, which is why today, we can only decode a small part of these ancient technological mysteries. Besides the enduring murals, Tomb 104 has yielded extremely sophisticated grave goods, from gemstone masks and gold-silver jewelry to jade figurines and finely painted pottery with extraordinarily durable glaze. Under the microscope, these artifacts reveal evidence of ultra-fine craftsmanship using tools modern science cannot yet identify as belonging to that era. This supports the theory that the Zapotec of Monte Alban possessed an advanced level of materials technology and craftsmanship far beyond what we previously imagined. Another highly notable point is that the murals in Tomb 104 are not just about aesthetics or religion, but also act as data recorders, a visual diary of rituals, history, lineage, even major astronomical events like solar and lunar eclipses, sun and moon movements. Thanks to their longevity, modern researchers have been able to partially decode the worldview, spiritual life, and even timekeeping and agricultural systems of the Zapotec civilization. This elevates the value of the preservation technology at Tomb 104, not just maintaining art, but preserving the memories and knowledge of a once glorious civilization. A painful irony, while the products of Tomb 104's preservation technology endure through time, the secrets themselves have been lost along with the decline of the Zapotec. There are no surviving documents, drawings, or detailed records describing the full techniques of mixing plaster, making pigments, processing stone, or conducting protective rituals. Researchers can only guess each step, each secret through chemical analysis, material archaeology, and modern reconstruction, but remain far from the true secrets once held by the ancients. Many scholars ask, why did the Zapotec invest so much effort, knowledge, and mastery just for a tomb? Perhaps Tomb 104 was not merely the resting place of a powerful individual, but a symbol of divine authority, a testament to family endurance, and a symphony blending religion, astronomy, art, and technology. In the Zapotec worldview, immortality was not just life after death, but leaving an unfading mark on the world, and Tomb 104 is the living proof of that ambition. To this day, even with the help of the most advanced analytical technologies, from electron microscopes and atomic spectrometers to three-dimensional simulations and climate modeling, we have only deciphered a small fraction of the technological mysteries of construction and preservation at Tomb 104. The big questions remain. How did the Zapotec create everlasting materials? How did they control the underground microclimate? Did they once possess a now lost body of secret materials, knowledge, or is it all the result of a unique combination of ancient science, belief, art, and a transcendent will beyond their time? Tomb 104 is not only an underground masterpiece of the Zapotec civilization, but also a challenge sent to all of modern humanity. Have we truly understood the past, or the seemingly simple techniques that held the power to transcend time? Perhaps in every stone wall, every layer of pigment, every symbol etched, Tomb 104 still quietly holds some secret, just waiting for future generations who are patient, humble, and creative enough to decode it. The Etowah copper plates are not simply ancient copper artifacts unearthed at the Etowah Mounds site, Georgia, USA. They represent the pinnacle of metallurgical skill, artistic spirit, cultural vision, and unsolved mysteries of the Mississippian civilization, which once flourished and then faded nearly 1 millennium ago. Among hundreds of precious relics, these copper plates are always the centerpieces that make archaeologists, historians, artisans, and lovers of mysteries admire and sometimes are left bewildered by a level of creativity and craftsmanship that seemed impossible for their era. What do you think is the greatest mystery surrounding the Etowah copper plates? Do you believe the ancients possessed crafting secrets we have yet to uncover? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The very first mystery of the transcendent craftsmanship behind the Etowah copper plates begins with material selection. The pure red copper used to create the Etowah plates was not locally available in Georgia. It had to be transported from the distant Great Lakes region to the north near Michigan and Wisconsin, thousands of kilometers away. This proves that the Mississippians were not simply hunter-gatherers, but had truly become collectors of precious materials, skillfully choosing the purest, least contaminated copper suitable for thin rolling and intricate engraving. It also demonstrates their vision beyond borders, as well as an exceptional ability to organize and participate in vast trading networks. During the crafting stage, the Etowah plates exhibit an extraordinarily high level of artistry and technical skill, with numerous steps that even modern jewelers must admire. Most notable is the repousse technique, in which artisans used stone bone or hard wooden tools to press, push, and shape from the back of an ultra-thin copper sheet, creating raised images, often mythical figures, spirit birds, or extremely detailed geometric motifs, precise down to the millimeter. After forming the relief, the artisan would continue refining every line, tapping out the smaller details, such as claws, feathers, and garment patterns, bringing a vibrant, three-dimensional effect to a surface just a few millimeters thick. Remarkably, the entire process was carried out without any use of modern iron or steel tools. Every operation relied on primitive materials like stone bone wood and even animal claws. Rolling copper to such thinness, just a few millimeters, without cracking, splitting, or breaking, during hammering, rolling, pressing, is an industrial achievement even by today's standards. The Mississippians may have hammered and annealed the copper many times at suitable temperatures to increase its ductility and reduce cracking, used meticulous hand-rolling techniques to make the sheet perfectly even, leveraged the material's balance between hardness for shape retention and ductility for deep engraving, and exercised flawless control over each step. Just a little too much or too little force would puncture or break the sheet, forcing the process to start all over again. Each Etowah copper plate, beyond its prominent raised images, contains countless micro details, lines, dots, notches, and subsidiary motifs imitating feathers, armor patterns, jewelry, and even mystical symbols. Some plates feature elements just a few tenths of a millimeter in size, demanding from the craftsman an almost superhuman level of skill, keen eyesight, and patience. All of this was accomplished on thin copper sheets without magnifying glasses or prefabricated templates, and an Etowah artisan could spend months, even up to a year, completing a single plate, turning it into an eternal painting for future generations. Archaeological research further reveals that some plates show evidence of edits, patches, or detail replacements, indicating that multiple artisans may have collaborated, each responsible for a distinct part. It's possible there once existed an Etowah school of coppercraft where secrets were passed down from master to apprentice over many generations, similar to the artistic workshops of medieval Europe. Even with the same themes, such as the Birdman figure, each Etowah plate is unique in pose, wing, style, jewelry, weapons, facial expressions, and subsidiary motifs like animals, spirals, eyes, feathers, sun, rain, and thunder, each arranged in a complex composition reflecting advanced visual thinking and graphic design far ahead of their time. If compared with medieval European bronze working 13th to 14th centuries or the Dong Son bronzes of Vietnam, Etowah copper plates are thinner, feature more micro details, and employ repoussé techniques no less complex than the most famous spears or drums. While Dong Son bronzes often depict scenes from daily life, the Etowah plates gravitate toward mythological, religious, and ceremonial themes of power. To this day, metallurgists, archaeologists, and conservators have not been able to recreate the precise repoussé techniques on thin copper using only primitive tools. Some speculate that the Mississippians possessed special heat treatment and annealing secrets, making copper ideal for repeated shaping without cracking. Others believe they used mysterious organic compounds to soften the copper at certain stages. Or perhaps there were tools and techniques now lost entirely with the Etowah culture. All that remains for posterity are the finished masterpieces, brilliant sharp copper plates that have endured through time, while the process by which they were made remains a mystery shrouded in the darkness of the past. Beyond their technical value, the Etowah copper plates also serve as a kind of manifesto of power and religious belief in Mississippian society. The image of the birdman, which appears on many of the plates, is considered a symbol of transition between the human world and the divine, alluding to strength, protection, or a special power possessed by only a select few individuals. Notably, some of these copper plates have been found in the tombs of chiefs, priests, or members of the elite, indicating that they were not simply works of art, but ultimate ritual objects playing a crucial role in sacrificial ceremonies, rites of passage, or the transfer of power between generations in this ancient society. The copper used to craft the Etowah plates originated from the Great Lakes region of North America, which proves that the Mississippian people possessed a highly developed, long-distance trading network even centuries before Europeans established transcontinental trade routes. At that time, copper was considered a luxury material. Each Etowah plate not only held artistic or religious value, but also served as a portable treasure, sometimes worth as much as an entire family's estate. The true function of the Etowah copper plates remains a major mystery to this day. Researchers have not determined whether they were used as jewelry, magical shields, protective amulets, symbols of power, or even as gateways to the afterlife. Notably, many of the plates feature drawings and symbols that have never been recorded in any other culture, as if they represent a unique graphic language that disappeared along with the decline of the Mississippian civilization. After the 14th century, the sophisticated copperworking art of the Etowah people almost completely vanished without a trace. Researchers have proposed many theories regarding the cause. It could have been due to epidemics, wars, climate change conflicts, or large-scale migrations, but to this day, no one has been able to explain why such ancient techniques, formulas, and traditions were erased so suddenly in such a short span of time. When compared with the copper art of civilizations, such as the Aztec, Maya, Egyptian, or European, the Etowah copper plates still hold an exceptionally special place. They stand out for their refinement, complexity, and timeless expressive power, even though they belong to a virtually anonymous civilization, with very few famous monuments remaining. The craftsmanship of Etowah is truly unique, unmatched anywhere else in the world, and precisely because of this, it serves as vivid evidence of the diversity and boundless creativity of ancient humanity. Because copper is highly susceptible to oxidation and degradation, preserving the Etowah copper plates presents enormous challenges. Museums and archaeological centers have had to develop new techniques such as vacuum sealing and precise control of temperature and humidity to prevent these artifacts from decaying. Every time a new Etowah plate is discovered and successfully preserved, it marks a significant victory for the field of cultural heritage conservation. The mysteries of the Etowah copper plates remain intact for future generations. How could a civilization without iron, steel, or modern machinery create such exquisitely crafted copper masterpieces? Are there still lost crafting secrets or undiscovered copper treasures hidden beneath the earth? The Etowah copper plates are not only proof of the Mississippians' transcendent artistry and craftsmanship, but also affirm the intelligence and creativity of ancient humans. Even though the secrets of their creation remain unsolved, each remaining Etowah plate serves as a reminder of a lost golden age when human hands could create immortal masterpieces without the aid of modern technology. In the heart of the ancient land of Morelos, where silent limestone mountains have stood for countless generations, Chalcatzingo Relief 1 emerges as a message in stone sent across the millennia. More than just a sculptural masterpiece, this bas-relief is an eternal imprint of a civilization that knew how to record its dreams, beliefs, and understanding onto the mountainside, using techniques far ahead of their time. Through layers of mist, the silhouette of Relief 1 quietly challenges every limit of human perception. It is a gateway that opens to countless mysteries of knowledge, art, and technology left behind by the ancients. That is why Chalcatzingo Relief 1 does not only fascinate archaeologists, but also stirs anyone with a thirst to uncover the secrets slumbering within the ancient rocks of Mexico. What techniques or tools do you think ancient people used to carve Relief 1 with such precision even without modern technology? Share your theories in the comments below. The first thing that strikes anyone standing before Chalcatzingo Relief 1 is its massive size and its proud position on the cliff face, as if defying time and the elements. Carved directly into the limestone cliff, Relief 1 stands nearly as tall as an adult, with an impressive width and deep, sharp lines that show almost no signs of erosion or fading even after more than 2,000 years of enduring rainstorms and climate change. This endurance has become the subject of debate regarding the ancient people's methods of crafting, preserving, and understanding their materials. At the heart of the bas-relief is a mysterious figure. Many theories suggest this is a rain god or supreme goddess sitting solemnly in a cave-like space surrounded by symbols of clouds, lightning, and vapor. The deep eyes' contemplative and powerful expression, along with the intricate details of clothing and objects held in the hands, are all rendered with a technique that, when examined up close, surprises even experts. The lines are not just crude incisions, but a harmonious mix of shallow and deep grooves, smooth transitions, and a sense of three-dimensionality, something very few contemporary civilizations anywhere in the world could achieve, especially on natural limestone, which is easily broken and difficult to control. Imagine the scene about 2,700 years ago, when ancient Central American cultures were in the early days of stoneworking, with no steel, no electric drills, or modern stone-cutting tools. The ancients only had tools made from harder stones, animal bones, or roughly fired ceramics. Yet with such implements, they created deep, incised grooves, flowing details, and smooth edges to a degree that even modern sculptors would marvel at when seeing the piece in person. One of the things that amazes archaeologists is how the ancient craftspeople controlled the depth and width of each incision, creating shadows and visual depth. As a result, Relief 1 is far from flat. It is lively and stands out from the rock background even as the daylight changes. Deeply carved areas cast strong shadows, while shallow ones reflect the light, making the figure seem to step out of the cliff. Especially impressive are the subtle details like the folds in the robe or the circles, symbols of clouds or water, all carved smoothly and evenly with no distortion even at the monumental scale. Besides controlling the carving, Relief 1 also astonishes with the treatment of its surfaces. When examined closely with modern macro photography, one can see that the carved surfaces are polished so smooth that they reflect light without being rough or showing hasty tool marks. To achieve this, ancient artisans must have spent many months polishing using fine sand water or even plant resin to create a glossy finish on every section. This would have been even harder because Relief 1 was carved directly into a cliff face in ever-changing natural light and on a dangerous steep surface, very different from carving a horizontal stone slab. There are many theories about how the ancient Chalcatzingo people measured and proportioned before carving. Some believe they used ropes measuring rods or even colored water to sketch the outlines. Yet even with these methods, keeping the overall proportions, especially when viewed from afar, required a strong artistic eye and extensive experience. A single small mistake in shaping could ruin the entire composition, especially as there was no chance to fix things if a line was cut too deep or the rock broke. Another crucial point, Relief 1 is not on a small, easily moved or replaced stone slab, but carved directly into the living rock of the mountain. This means the ancient artist not only mastered carving techniques, but also had to read the rock's natural structure, identifying fissures, grain, direction, layers of soft and hard stone to choose the best carving spot, avoid cracking, and ensure the bas-relief would survive for thousands of years. This is the technique of choosing, reading, taming stone that only true master artisans could achieve. For these reasons, Relief 1 is not just a work of art, but evidence of a level of stoneworking technology far ahead of the world's general development at the time. If placed beside famous contemporary bas-reliefs from Egypt, Mesopotamia, or the Andes, Chalcatzingo Relief 1 retains its unique style, the harmonious blend of artistic design, material technique, and even architectural factors, such as choosing its position orientation and interacting with natural light throughout day and night all year round. What makes this bas-relief even more mysterious is the way astronomical and ritual symbols are encoded into every line. Modern researchers have used satellite imagery, three-dimensional scanning, and light analysis to find that Relief 1's position aligns with sunrise and sunset on special days of the year, such as the equinoxes or solstices. It is possible that ancient artisans used astronomical alignment to create a monument observatory that served both as an artwork and a site for ritual or agricultural forecasting. In addition, the spirals, clouds, and lightning are not just decoration, but a coded language about natural cycles, when the rains come, the planting seasons, the movements of the stars. Crucial knowledge for an agricultural society dependent on nature. This shows that the carving technique was inseparable from astronomy, mathematics, and religion, all woven into a single work. Another mystery is the connection to the Olmec civilization, which flourished hundreds of kilometers away and is famous for its colossal stone heads. Even in the central Mexican highlands, Relief 1 bears strong Olmec stylistic influences: the human figure, the carving style, and the motifs. This raises theories of cultural exchange, transmission of stoneworking technology across regions, or even technological migration from the Olmecs to Chalcatzingo. With all these factors, Chalcatzingo Relief 1 stands as vivid proof of the intelligence, adaptability, and creativity of ancient people. Lacking modern technology, they used their hands, mines, and relentless effort to bend, mountain rock crafting a masterpiece that was both art and a machine, encoding knowledge, beliefs, and astronomy. This is why, even today, Relief 1 is a hot topic in archaeological conferences, multidisciplinary research projects, and an unmissable sight for anyone fascinated by humanity's mysteries. Despite generations of research, many mysteries remain about Chalcatzingo Relief 1. What tools and techniques did ancient people use to achieve such precision? Was it the work of a single genius or a collective effort? How much ancient knowledge has been lost over time? This bas-relief is not just a legacy of ancient Mexico, it also stands as a reminder of human creativity, intellect, and ambition that surpassed its era. Its masterful carving technique has turned Relief 1 into an enduring symbol, inspiring generations to continue unraveling the mysteries of the past. Amid the vast sands of the Taklamakan Desert, small wooden pieces, inscribed with ancient characters, known as Nia wooden documents, recount a grand yet haunting story about a once prosperous city that suddenly vanished, leaving behind countless unsolved mysteries. The story of Nia is not just the history of an ancient city along the Silk Road, it stands as evidence of the fragility of an entire civilization before the power of nature, time, and forces beyond human comprehension. In your opinion, what is the biggest reason why a civilization like Nia could vanish from history? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Nia, located in the southern part of the Tarim Basin, was once the capital of the Shanshan Kingdom. It was a major center of commerce and culture on the Silk Road. Thousands of wooden tablets, the Nia wooden documents, have been discovered, meticulously recording every aspect of daily life, law, economics, religion, agriculture, disputes, diplomatic correspondence, trade contracts. All these elements form a vivid picture of a highly developed society, tightly organized, multi-ethnic, and a convergence point of East and West. Unlike many other ancient sites that leave only scattered relics, the Nia wooden documents remain intact as administrative records listing dates, names, titles, addresses, property counts, even court judgments, complaints, inheritance papers, divorce settlements, and letters between citizens and officials. Thanks to these, we know Nia had sophisticated irrigation systems, a developed textile industry, progressive laws, and a local community intermarried with Indian, Persian, and Chinese merchants. Even lawsuits and land disputes were recorded in meticulous detail. Strangely, these fragile wooden boards have survived for thousands of years in desert conditions thanks to the extremely dry and harsh climate. Thick layers of sand preserved all the writing, and sometimes even traces of daily life like grains of rice, ashes, threads, wrist cords. Alongside were mummified bodies, camels, clothing textiles, dry firewood, and countless other precious artifacts. Yet it was this harsh environment that in the end may have helped bury Nia in oblivion. The Nia documents suddenly cease around the 4th to 5th centuries, like a film that's abruptly cut off without warning. Numerous administrative papers, letters, and records remain unfinished. Construction projects left incomplete, and signs of panic appear in the writings, all pointing to a massive upheaval that swept this city off the map. But what exactly was this catastrophe until now? Despite many theories, no explanation has been convincing enough to account for everything. One of the strongest hypotheses is climate change. The Taklamakan Desert relentlessly expanded lakes and rivers around Nia, gradually dried up the land, turned barren, and sophisticated irrigation canals became choked with sand. The last Nia documents record many disputes over water resources, lawsuits over desertified land, and government edicts redistributing water supplies, vivid evidence of a society struggling against natural disaster. Archaeologists found that sediment layers and tree ring data from the site match this period. Rainfall dropped sharply, groundwater fell, and vegetation died en masse. Once agriculture collapsed, the people were forced to leave in search of new places to live, abandoning their city to be buried by sand and dust. Beyond climate change, political and military factors can't be overlooked. In the early 4th century, the Tarim region was a battlefield for many forces: Xiongnu nomads, Kushan groups, armies of northern dynasties, and continuous religious conflicts between Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and indigenous faiths. Some Nia wooden tablets record orders for troop movements, increased guards, food transportation, and war taxes. A few sites show traces of fire and destruction, possibly the result of conflict or outside attack. Yet archaeologists have not found evidence of mass slaughter or bodies in battle positions. It's as if the population left Nia hurriedly, but in an orderly manner, or were forced to evacuate before disaster fully struck. In addition, many scholars point to the possibility of deadly epidemics similar to those that swept other major Silk Road cities. Some of the last wooden tablets mention deaths, hasty burials, or urgent health edicts. Nevertheless, there is still no clear evidence of a large-scale epidemic in Nia. Everything remains speculative, based on silent gaps in the records and a handful of faint biological traces. Ultimately, the deeper the analysis, the more perplexing the mystery becomes. How could a city with modern irrigation, large buildings, thousands of residents, and bustling merchants disappear in just 1 or 2 generations? The Nia documents don't reflect a slow decline, but rather something like a sudden storm. Everything stops abandoned amid the sand, and no one ever returned to rebuild or inhabit the site. That is what makes Nia one of the greatest enigmas of Central Asia, a civilization submerged in silence and oblivion, different from most other ancient cities. Precisely because of this mysterious disappearance, the Nia wooden documents have become an invaluable time machine, allowing humanity to glimpse a once-living civilization that vanished as a warning about the fragility of all human achievement. Each wooden tablet is not just an administrative record, but also an echo of people who once lived, loved, fought, and dreamed under ancient skies. Nia shows us that no matter how much power, law, or technical skill a society has, all can vanish in the face of a natural upheaval, a war, or some mysterious force beyond human control. As we read every line of Kharosthi script, every contract, every letter to a mother, or the record of a minor lawsuit, we cannot help but wonder, are our modern cities today truly any different from Nia in the past? Perhaps all civilizations, no matter how mighty, are merely travelers on humanity's long historical journey. The disappearance of Nia is not just an archaeological event, but a profound metaphor for the destiny of any society faced with the test of time and change. Today, archaeologists have not stopped searching for answers to Nia's mystery. Each archaeological season brings new wooden boards, discovered new clues unearthed, but also more questions left unresolved. Recent studies on irrigation traces, environmental changes, DNA analyses of mummies, textile artifacts have helped piece together Nia's path to disappearance. Yet because so much remains unclear, Nia continues to fascinate not only scientists, but also all those who love exploring the mysteries of the ancient world. Nia wooden documents are an archaeological treasure, recording the strange fate of a city once radiant at the heart of the Silk Road, then vanishing into the dry desert in an inexplicable way. Whether due to climate change, war, disease, or some unknown catastrophe, never recorded. One thing is certain: each surviving wooden tablet is the final voice of a civilization erased in silence. The mysteries of Naya's collapse will continue to haunt humanity, urging us to treasure the values of the past and every fragile trace left behind by those who came before. If you've ever been fascinated by the mysteries of Stonehenge or astonished by the rows of menhirs at Karnak, then the Brotas Bronze Age stelae, the Bronze Age stone slabs near Brotas village in central Portugal, will open another door for you where secrets of technology, spirituality, and ancient memories are still hidden in every primitive carving on the stone. For thousands of years, these stone slabs have stood silently in the windswept wilderness, enduring sun and rain, like silent guardians of secrets belonging to a civilization long vanished. What secrets from the ancients do you think these stones might be hiding? If you could decode the symbols on the Brotas Bronze Age stelae, what would you most want to know? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Brotas stelae are not just evidence of the organizational skills and technical prowess of prehistoric communities. They are also a vivid carved painting of spirituality, belief, lifestyle, and possibly even significant historical events of humans during the Bronze Age. Most of these stone stelae range from 1 to more than 2 meters in height, crafted from granite or sandstone with surfaces relatively smoothed to allow for the carving of motifs and symbols. Some stelae stand alone in the vast fields, while others are clustered reminiscent of ceremonial areas or sacred grounds of ancient communities. Many have been found near ancient tombs, but not all are grave markers as seen in other cultures. The decorative motifs are highly diverse, from concentric circles, parallel lines, axes, swords, stylized human figures, abstract animals, to winding lines that resemble maps, rivers, or natural phenomena. Perhaps the most haunting question for any archaeologist who has ever studied Brotas is this: what were these stone slabs actually erected for? If we consider them to be grave markers, then why are not all of them placed near burial sites or directly associated with the remains of ancient people? If we view them as symbols of power or boundary markers dividing territory, it becomes even more perplexing when the stone surfaces are densely covered with religious symbols, astronomical motifs, and complex abstract patterns that cannot be explained simply as territorial markers. And if we suppose these stelae were the centers of ancient religious rituals, then what mysterious ceremonies did the Bronze Age community perform around these stones? And what meaning did these carvings hold in their spiritual lives? All these questions resemble a thick fog enveloping Brotas for thousands of years, since the remaining archaeological evidence is still so scant and fragmented. Sometimes, even within the same cluster of stelae, there is a strange blending of functions. One area might resemble an ancient burial ground, another like a giant altar under the open sky, or some have the positioning of territorial boundary stones dividing the lands of ancient tribal communities. With weights that could reach several tons, many of the stones at Brotas truly puzzle scientists when they consider the methods Bronze Age inhabitants might have used to quarry, transport, and erect these massive blocks, especially during a period when metal tools were still extremely primitive. People relied entirely on their own physical strength and had no assistance from mechanical equipment. Did they use wooden rollers, ropes, or simple levers to move these heavy stones? Or were there other technical secrets that archaeologists today have yet to uncover? The fact that so many Brotas stelae have remained upright and intact for thousands of years proves that ancient people possessed exceptionally solid construction techniques and knew how to select suitable locations for erecting the stones, perhaps even taking into account astronomical factors like the position of the rising and setting sun throughout the year to ensure both the lasting value and the symbolic meaning of their monuments. The motifs carved on the surface of the Brotas stelae can truly be seen as one of the oldest visual languages of the Iberian Peninsula, containing countless meanings that remain unexplained to this day. Concentric circles appear quite frequently and are often interpreted as symbols of the sun, the universe, or the cycles of life, central themes in ancient agricultural beliefs. Weapon images, such as axes and swords, are carved in prominent relief, possibly representing strength, authority, or the will to protect the community. Occasionally, there are very distinctive stylized human figures, extremely rare among European stone cultures of the same era, leading many researchers to suspect they depict leaders, heroes, or revered ancestors, perhaps even serving as sacred symbols for entire communities. Not to be overlooked are the strange animal figures which could represent sacred creatures, or could also be symbols related to mythology and protective beliefs, reflecting the diverse worldview of ancient people. Even more intriguing is that alongside these common carvings, there are many bizarre motifs never seen at other sites, winding grooves stretching from the base to the top of the stelae, clusters of dots, or uneven parallel lines and complex interlocking circles that seem to form an ancient calendar or a primitive astronomical map. No one is certain, perhaps these are systems of signs used to record important community events, or they might encode seasonal calendars or astronomical cycles for agricultural purposes. Some theories even suggest that these motifs are unique mind maps created by ancient people to record water sources, hunting grounds, or migration routes, but all of this remains speculation and has made Brotas one of the greatest archaeological mysteries in Europe. Although Brotas shares many similarities with other famous sites, such as the menhirs, standing stones of France, dolmen's stone tombs in Spain, and even Stonehenge in England, a closer look reveals that the decorative motifs and arrangement of the stelae at Brotas are actually quite unique, creating an unmistakable independent identity of an Iberian Bronze Age culture for which very little documentation survives today. Some researchers believe there was once strong cultural exchange among ancient communities across Europe through trade, migration, or even wars that lasted for centuries. In fact, certain motifs carved on the Brotas stelae also appear at other sites hundreds of kilometers away, fueling hypotheses about the existence of large tribal alliances or a shared belief system that spread across the Iberian Peninsula during the Bronze Age. However, no site other than Brotas possesses such a distinctive and diverse collection of symbols, and this very fact has turned Brotas into a truly unique archaeological codebook, still waiting for future generations of experts to unlock the secrets it has preserved through the ages. To this day, the Brotas stelae still hold a special place in the spiritual life of the local people. There are legends that under a full moon, the stelae emit a faint glow, believed to be a gathering place for ancestral spirits. Some local festivals are still held around these clusters of stones, hoping for blessings on crops and health. There are oral tales of giants erecting the stones and curses for those who dare move or damage the stelae. This reverence and caution have contributed to many stelae surviving thousands of years of upheaval. Today, Brotas faces the serious risk of loss due to erosion, climate change, the impacts of modern agriculture, and the looting of antiquities. Many stelae have been moved from their original positions, destroyed or worn down, to the point where motifs are no longer recognizable. The work of preservation is both a scientific challenge and a race to keep humanity's memory alive. The Brotas Bronze Age. Stellae are not just an archaeological site, they are a profound question about the skills, strength, and mindset of Bronze Age people. We still do not know how ancient people managed to erect these stones, or what messages they intended for future generations. The mysteries surrounding their purpose, construction techniques, and carved motifs continue to challenge every generation, inspiring countless people to visit Brotas to observe in silence, to reflect, and to wonder, are these the messages of our ancestors, or simply a mystery that will remain unsolved forever?